Watching his teammates effortlessly slay hordes of stone human false gods with every gesture, Lu Sheng could not help but sigh inwardly. Truly, heroes in this world are as numerous as carp crossing the river. With that thought, Lu Sheng resolutely joined the battle. Lifting both hands from his waist, he curled his 5 fingers into claws and grasped hard. Fine golden foil-like specks of light rippled through the air, swiftly solidifying into form. 1 flying sword, 2, 3. In the blink of an eye, over 100 flying swords forged from metal element power hovered in midair, their edges glinting with sharp menace. This has drained 1/10 of my 5 elements origin. Lu Sheng narrowed his eyes slightly, raised his right arm, and pointed sharply toward the stone human false gods ahead. Swoosh! Accompanied by an exceptionally clear sword hum, the 100-odd metal element flying swords shot forth all at once, streaking into the battlefield to reap the lives of countless stone beings. Battered by the power of cosmic laws, these stone human divinities who had not comprehended any laws were slaughtered like helpless chicks, utterly incapable of resistance. Boom, boom, boom. Stone human false god slain. Points +1. Stone human false god slain. Points +1. Slain. Hey, Lu Sheng, stop stealing kills. Pei Xiaogong teleported behind one stone being, ready to land a killing punch, only for a metal element flying sword to slice the stone creature to shreds out of nowhere. In the next instant, more metal element flying swords swarmed in, wiping out every stone human divinity around him in a single breath. The same thing unfolded on the battlefields of the other 3 teammates. Once this squad of stone divinities was wiped out, they realized that though they had struck first, their combined total points could not compare to Lu Sheng's alone. Mages really have it easy. You just stand there and finish off enemies. Pei Xiaogong stared at the leaderboard, where Lu Sheng had broken into the top 1,000, filled with envy. Though he comprehended the Void Law, he had yet to master it fully, and relied mostly on his physical strength for attacks. Unlike Lu Sheng, who could unleash the might of the 5 elements with a raise of his hand, mowing down foes in swathes with a mere wave. At that moment, Fu Qing spoke up in warning. Brother Lu, origin power cannot be replenished quickly in a short span. You must conserve it. If you exhaust your origin before reaching the core zone, you will struggle to fight alien demigods. Deeper comprehension of cosmic laws did raise one's maximum origin capacity and recovery rate, yet it should not be squandered like this. They would spend 3 full months on the God Realm continent, striving for higher rankings, and countless battles awaited them along the way. If he burned through massive amounts of origin without restraint in every fight, his reserves would run dry before long. The combat prowess of a demigod with full origin and one drained of origin was worlds apart. Understood, Lu Sheng replied indifferently, yet he paid it no mind. If he had only comprehended the 5 elements law, he would indeed conserve origin, just as Fu Qing suggested. But he had mastered 3 separate cosmic laws. Each law possessed its own independent origin reservoir. Where others could only draw from a single pool of origin, Lu Sheng commanded 3. Among them, the life law and 5 elements law were fairly well understood, granting him vast capacity and rapid recovery. Moreover, after raising his mastery of the life law to 20%, Lu Sheng discovered it held not only healing properties, but also the trait of perpetual regeneration. He could expend life origin to accelerate the restoration of his 5 elements origin. When one origin reservoir ran low, he could simply cycle through the other 2. And so, in the battles that followed, Lu Sheng farmed kills relentlessly with the 5 elements law, while drawing on the life law to speed up 5 elements origin recovery. When both reservoirs dropped to half capacity, he charged into melee combat, felling foes with single punches. Fu Qing and the other 3 stared on in complete astonishment. Rotating the power of his 3 laws, his killing speed never slackened, it only grew faster. His points surged, catapulting him into the top 100 of the leaderboard. His momentum showed no sign of slowing. Wait a minute. Pei Xiaogong rubbed his eyes in disbelief, utterly dumbfounded. Are you cheating? We have fought dozens of battles. How is your origin power still not depleted? Also, aren't you a healer mage? Why are you so devastating in close-quarters combat too? The Fu siblings and Gu Qinghan regarded Lu Sheng with the look of someone witnessing a monster. Their perception of him had shifted yet again. This outstanding youth from a lesser region, whom they had casually recruited aboard Ziwei Academy's admission shuttle, was far more terrifying than they had imagined. High above the endless expanse of the God Realm continent, 10 majestic figures sat in vigil. Their gaze swept across every detail unfolding on the land below. Soon, one peculiar figure caught their notice. Who was this student? A first-year freshman barely enrolled, yet he comprehends 3 laws: life, 5 elements, and might. Why have we never heard of him before? His mastery of the life law appears to exceed 20%, a milestone many fourth-year students fail to reach. Found him. Lu Sheng, SS rank talent, spiritual energy revival. He is a Class A candidate prodigy. He hails from no great clan and has received no sponsorship from any major force. No sponsorship? One divine figure stirred at that piece of information. According to all archived records, that is correct. An elderly man nodded in confirmation. Judging by his current strength alone, he has outgrown the Class A candidate tier. Should we promote him to official Class A prodigy? Someone proposed. Raw combat strength alone is not the proper measure. His initial ranking on the Z-Way battlefield was far too low, and he does not satisfy the formal criteria. The elderly man paused and continued. Still, we may mark him for observation. If he can break into the top 10 million rankings on the Z-Way battlefield before the start of his second semester, we can revisit granting him official Class A prodigy status. Agreed. Acceptable. I consent. Having spoken, the 10 turned their attention back toward the God Realm continent below. Several of them stirred inwardly, already entertaining thoughts of recruitment. Though they held high positions within Z-Way Academy, each belonged to their own clan. Lu Sheng had attained such power without external backing. If they brought him under their wing and supplied him with abundant resources, the odds of him maturing into a full-fledged Class A prodigy were excellent. A potential Class A prodigy was worthy enough for these venerable figures to take notice. In the time that followed, Lu Sheng unleashed cyclic barrages of law-infused power. The alien false gods of the outer zone stood no chance of resistance, and the group advanced forward in near unstoppable fashion. Their travel speed was tremendous. In less than a month, the 5-person squad left the outer zone behind and stepped into the core region of the God Realm continent. Leaderboard. Rank 1. Qin Baixing, 81351 points. Rank 2. Buzo, 67619 points. Rank 3. Morong Chueshua, 36,911 points. Rank 4. Qin Chuan, 36117 points. Rank 5. Jiding, 36099 points. Rank 6. Feng Yuxiu, 35,014 points. Rank 31. Lu Sheng, 33,193 points. Rank 5591. Fu Jingjing, 10,013 points. Rank 6609. Fu Qing, 9,147 points. Rank 12632. Pei Xiaogong, 7,913 points. Rank 13321. Gu Qinghan, 7,411 points. Thanks to the 5 Elements Law's exceptional crowd-clearing efficiency, most of the points went to Lu Sheng, leaving Fu Qing and the other 3 with rather meager tallies. Yet this was not necessarily a bad thing for them. The true contest for demigod prodigies never unfolded in the outer zone, but deep within the core region, swarming with alien demigods. Killing foes in the outer zone counted for little. The territory was vast, tracking down every last false god cost time, and each false god granted a mere single point. By contrast, slaying demigods yielded far greater rewards. Defeating a 1 SD tier demigod earned 1,000 points. A 2 and D tier demigod was worth 10,000 points. Far more efficient than grinding away at false gods. Moreover, most divine crystal coordinates lay within the core zone. To earn 1 million points within a single month meant slaying 1,001 SD tier alien demigods. Glancing at the top 2 names on the leaderboard, Lu Sheng could not help but marvel. Who exactly are Qin Baixing and Buzo? How have they opened such a massive gap against everyone else? A clear note of awe crossed Fu Qing's face as he spoke of the pair. They possess unique SSS rank talents. They also receive full backing from supreme great clans. The resources they command are leagues above what a Class A candidate like myself can access. It is still early. With their talents and resources, they have most likely already advanced to 3 RD tier demigodhood. They will hunt even more ferociously once deep inside the core zone. SSS rank talent? Lu Sheng asked. Are there only 2 official Class A prodigies among this year's freshmen? No. 13 freshmen qualify as official Class A prodigies. Most hold that rank because that is the highest tier they can reach. But Qin Baixing and Buzo are Class A prodigies only because the Great Xia's prodigy evaluation system has no tier higher than Class A. Fu Qing explained with a bitter smile. Lu Sheng nodded thoughtfully. He had assumed all Class A candidate prodigies bore SS rank talents, and all official Class A prodigies possessed SSS rank talents. In truth, Enormous gaps in talent and strength existed even among official Class A prodigies, much like Fu Qing and his companions versus himself. Though they shared the label of Class A candidate prodigy, there was a vast disparity in power. Similarly, Qin Baixing and Bu Zhou could overpower other Class A prodigies with ease. Clearly, SSS-ranked talents remained exceedingly rare, even within Ziwei Academy's gathering of heaven-blessed geniuses. Fortunately for him, he held 3 such talents. Multiple graduating classes pass by without producing a single monster-level talent, yet we get 2 in our year. Truly, we were born at an inopportune time. Pei Xiaogong tilted his head upward, striking a melancholy pose. Gu Qinghan shook her head, then turned toward Lu Sheng. Those 2 exist far beyond our reach. Even ordinary official Class A prodigies are figures we can only look up to. Still, Brother Lu's gifts may grant you a chance to catch up. The other 3 nodded in agreement. 1 month of fighting side by side had given them a clear grasp of Lu Sheng's capabilities, the strongest beneath official Class A prodigies. And this was merely 2.5 months after he had enrolled at Ziwei Academy. Given more time, he might very well break into the top 10 among freshmen. Let none of us belittle ourselves. The rise of a divine kingdom cannot be accomplished overnight. Talent, resources, and opportunity are all indispensable. No one can foretell what the future holds. Lu Sheng smiled and consoled them, not letting his temporary lead fuel arrogance. Let us press onward. Now that we have entered the core zone, every moment counts. Agreed, Fu Qing replied promptly. He drew a deep breath, his gentle irises glinting with metallic radiance as he channeled his origin to activate divination. Moments later, he shut his eyes, then opened them again with a furrowed brow. My senses pick up another group of students not far from us. Should we steer clear? As he spoke, his gaze rested firmly on Lu Sheng. Though Pei Xiaogong had originally assembled this 5-person squad, Fu Qing and his sister had been its most powerful members, and Fu Qing had long called the shots. Now that Lu Sheng stood as the group's strongest combatant, the right to make critical decisions had naturally shifted to him. Neither Fu Qing, nor Pei Xiaogong, nor the others held final say. Only Lu Sheng's word mattered. The remaining 3 turned their eyes toward him, saying nothing. Their original plan had been to avoid clashing with other talented students to safely farm points. Yet circumstances had changed. Whether Lu Sheng chose to play it safe and avoid conflict, or elect to engage in battle, the rest would follow his command. Beneath everyone's gaze, Lu Sheng paused to think. Instead of giving an immediate answer, he posed a question. Brother Fu, can you estimate their overall combat strength? My divination has its limits. I can only gauge the general level of danger. Fu Qing shook his head. The threat they give off is moderate, yet every single one is a demigod. Their numbers should exceed 12. Moderate threat, Lu Sheng narrowed his eyes. Over this past month of shared combat, just as others observed him, he had observed his 4 teammates. Fu Qing, long since advanced to 2 ND tier, was undeniably the strongest of the 4. Next came not Pei Xiaogong, who was also 2 ND tier, but Fu Jingjing, blessed with combat aptitude and mastery of the devouring law. Pei Xiaogong and Gu Qinghan followed after her. In previous battles, Lu Sheng had held back to preserve his origin reserves. Yet even holding back, his power outmatched the combined might of all 4. If Fu Qing judged the opposing force as only moderately threatening, then to Lu Sheng, they posed little real danger. If that was the case, why pass up such valuable points? A genial smile spread across Lu Sheng's features. Avoid them. I have been hoping to test my mettle against the talents of our own academy. Dozens of kilometers away from Lu Sheng's 5-person squad, a 13-member demigod unit advanced rapidly. Remember what I said. Only bring alien demigods to the brink of defeat. Help me lock in a top 10 ranking in this competition, and each of you will receive 10 million strands of divine essence once we exit, Qin Chuan ordered as he hurried forward, glancing back at his followers. Brother Qin is generous. Hail, Brother Qin. We shall fulfill our mission. We will clear every obstacle in Brother Qin's path. At the promise of 10 million strands of divine essence, the eyes of the squad members lit up. To Qin Chuan, it was a trivial sum. Yet for these contracted external geniuses, it represented resources capable of uplifting their personal minor realms to entirely new heights. Good. Qin Chuan nodded, satisfied with their response. The next instant, his expression shifted drastically. His pupils constricted to pinpricks. He skidded to a halt mid-sprint, twisting his torso and throwing himself sideways in one fluid motion. Boom. The spot where Qin Chuan had stood a heartbeat before was obliterated by a colossal flaming python, dozens of meters long, bursting forth in blinding firelight. Rumble. The ground shook violently. Heat waves surged outward like a tsunami, whipping up gale-force winds. One unprepared demigod in the squad was caught in the blast wave. He was hurled 100 meters through the air, crashing down and writhing in agony. Though the freshmen existed within the God-realm continent through projected consciousness, their virtual bodies replicated physical sensations wanton for complete immersion. The rest of the squad, who had evaded the strike, ignored their screaming comrade and quickly formed a defensive ring around Qin Chuan, scanning their surroundings warily. Alien ambush. Hugo, your mental perception is supposed to be sharp. How could you fail to detect enemies practically on top of us? Protect, Brother Qin. Quick, wait, these are fellow academy students. They soon spotted the source of the assault. It was no alien demigod, but rival freshmen competing alongside them. Fu Qing, it is you. Qin Chuan stared at the 5 demigods blocking their path, recognizing an acquaintance among them. Qin Chuan, I did not expect to run into you here. Surprise showed on Fu Qing's face. I wondered how a mere 2 tier demigod like yourself climbed so high in points, breaking into the top 10 of the leaderboard. So you have subordinates feeding you kills. Brother Fu, do you two know each other? Lu Xing looked curiously at the pair. In a manner of speaking, Fu Qing replied with a smile. He is a direct descendant of the Qin clan, one of the 10 supreme great clans. His own talent is fairly ordinary, but his elder brother is the celebrated Qin Baixing. Thanks to that connection, he enjoys abundant family resources. I see, Lu Xing nodded. For signs of great clans and geniuses from lesser regions alike, this freshman tournament represented a precious chance to make a name for themselves. Any ambitious soul would never waste such an opportunity by letting others farm points on their behalf. To convince other demigod students to feed him points required either overwhelming status or enormous material compensation, and Qin Chuan possessed both. No wonder he could assemble a squad of more than a dozen demigods. Still, mindful of his opponent's powerful background, Lu Xing asked cautiously, Brother Fu, would defeating him bring trouble down upon us from Qin Baixing? From what he recalled from past life stories, this was the classic setup. Beat the younger brother, and the older brother would come seeking retribution, followed by even more powerful elders. He had no wish to invite unnecessary complications. Ha ha, Brother Lu, you worry too much. Fu Qing waved a hand dismissively. Every student admitted to Ziwei Academy holds great potential and commands some standing across the Ziwei star system. To call upon one's family after losing a fair contest would only draw mockery. No clan would tolerate such behavior from its scions. Qin Chuan once gambled and lost an SS rank estate to another student. Even after his elder brother beat him severely for the loss, he never demanded the property back. Gu Qinghan giggled behind her hand. Where on earth have you picked up such strange notions, Brother Lu? Lu Sheng could only remain silent. He could hardly explain that such tropes came from old-world dramas he had watched in his past life. Hey, the 3 of you are far too arrogant. Do you truly believe you can overpower me? Protected by 11 demigod allies, Qin Chuan seethed at how casually the opposing 5 chatted amongst themselves. He himself was a 2 tier demigod, supported by 11 capable 1 tier demigod followers. He outnumbered them more than 2-10. By all logic, the odds were firmly in his favor. True enough. Still, Brother Lu, Qin Chuan is quite the valuable target. Eliminating him grants nearly 20,000 points, equivalent to felling 2-3 tier demigods. We cannot let him escape, Fu Qing reminded him. Under ordinary circumstances, with only 3 2 tier and 2 1 tier demigods on their side, taking on the enemy squad would be beyond their capacity. Yet everything changed because of Lu Sheng, who was no ordinary 2 tier demigod. A dozen 1 tier demigods were foes Lu Sheng could slay with casual ease. Understood. Lu Xing nodded, meeting Qin Chuan's furious gaze. This is outrageous. Men charge. Infuriated by their dismissive attitude, Qin Chuan gave the order without hesitation, directing his followers to surge forward. Take this fireball. Wind law activate. Watch closely. This punch is going to look spectacular. 11 different strands of law power crashed down all at once, bursting with dazzling multicolored light and earth-shaking momentum. I'd like to see how you put on airs now. A cold smirk tugged at Qin Chuan's lips, but in the next second, his smile froze on his face. Standing beside Fu Qing was an unfamiliar young man. He merely lifted one hand gently, and 5 streams of colored light bloomed, instantly forming a massive barrier. The dozen blasts of law power slammed into it, yet failed to make it shake even slightly. Even a prodigy like Pei Xiaogong could only comprehend 5% of a law at this stage, to say nothing of these first-turn demigods. Compared to Lu Sheng, who had grasped 13% of the five elements law, they were outclassed by a wide margin. My turn. Lu Sheng's gaze sharpened. He pushed his palm forward, and the swirling five-colored vortex exploded, sending five solid pillars of light shooting outward. Greenwood twisted into vines that coiled around one foe in the blink of an eye. The living tendrils snaked, wrapped tight, and crumpled their targets into twisted heaps. Metal forged into a sword. A dozen-meter-long golden greatsword descended from the sky, striking down foe after foe. Red fire manifested as a phoenix, black water coiled into serpents, and earth spikes burst from the ground in surprise ambushes. The first-turned demigods cried out in agony, completely unable to fight back. Most insidious of all, whenever his five elements source energy neared depletion, Lu Sheng replenished it using the law of life, keeping his firepower nearly endless. In barely 20 breaths, 11 demigods were slain by Lorat force. Their bodies dissolved into light that drifted away, leaving only Qin Xuan rooted to the spot, stunned senseless. Eliminated student Lin Jun. Target held 2 points. You gain 1 point inch. Eliminated student Hu Guo. Target held 0 points. You gain 0 points. Eliminated student. Lu Sheng shook off his arms. Hundreds of golden swords hovered in the air behind him, humming with icy menace. He offered Qin Xuan a calm smile and asked politely, "Classmate, will you yield, or shall I finish this?" High above, the 10 supervising divine beings watched the scene unfold. Elder Qin, your boy is quite clever, rallying more than a dozen others to pool points. If he had not run into Lu Sheng, he might well have secured a spot among the top 10 of the tournament. A white-robed man smiled faintly. What a disgrace. Instead of honing his strength with the resources he has, he chases cheap shortcuts. He seeks unfair advantage even in this grand competition. Hopeless. He ought to count himself fortunate he did not try to pull family rank to pressure others. Had he botched that and cost the Qin clan a grade A prodigy, not even his elder brother Qin Baixing could shield him. Qin Buhue snorted, his face dark. Though Lu Sheng was still only a grade A candidate prodigy, everyone present already took it for granted he would rise to full grade A. A grade A prodigy was a talent courted by countless factions wherever they went. Even the 10 great super clans would not let such a prize slip away. Once fully grown, such a prodigy would become a cornerstone combat power capable of propping up an entire clan. Elder Qin, you speak too hastily. At that moment, another divine woman with fair, otherworldly beauty chuckled softly. Do not forget, one of Lu Sheng's close allies is a genius from my Fu clan. In my view, this young man shares a karmic bond with the Fu clan. Hardly. I believe he would be far better suited for my Murong clan. The Murong clan elder spoke up, radiating unyielding determination. Empty words accomplish nothing. Lu Sheng hails from a remote star and lacks resources. On that front, the Qin clan fears no rival. Divine beings representing the Fu, Qin, and Murong super clans spoke over one another, unreserved in their ambition. Enough bickering. As tensions mounted, the elder seated at the center raised a hand. Once the tournament concludes, you may all extend investment offers to him. Whether he accepts is entirely his choice. I will tell you this. Our artificial intelligence has confirmed that since this small realm opened, Lu Sheng has never accepted investment from any faction. Hearing this, representatives of the 3 clans shifted their expressions. They ceased pointless arguing and swiftly messaged their clansmen for deliberation. Grade A prodigies stood on an entirely different tier. Investment concerning such talent demanded extreme caution. What they did not know, the elder who had quieted them was also sending a message, not to his clan, but to high-ranking figures at Ziwei Academy. Ziwei Academy held numerous internal factions. Outside the influence of other super clans, for major blocks dominated, the Qin faction, the Fu faction, the Murong faction, and the Academy faction, loyal solely to the Great Xia government, staffed by powerful, formally appointed instructors. Compared with the 3 clan-backed blocks, the Academy faction seldom meddled in internal power struggles within the Academy. Its members advanced by taking on personal disciples of their own choosing. This time would be different. The Academy's dedicated artificial intelligence had delivered new findings. Lu Sheng's hidden talent was likely not SS rank, but an unknown SSS rank talent tied to spiritual energy. Grade A prodigies appeared every year. SSS rank talents were exceedingly rare. In that case, the Academy faction would fight for him. Eliminated student Qin Xuan. Target held 36,117 points. You gain 18,058.5 points. Current points, 51,251.5. Rank, 3rd. After disposing of Qin Xuan, Lu Sheng's score rocketed past numerous grade A prodigies to claim third place on the leaderboard. He now understood why teams formed each tournament to hunt other students. He had slain alien false gods for over a month and only earned a little more than 30,000 points. Killing one fellow student had netted him nearly 20,000. Points came frighteningly fast this way. If one possessed a law-based predictive ability like Fu Qing's, one could keep preying on weaker competitors and seize points others had earned over months of toil, far more efficient than hunting alien demigods. The tournament rules themselves seemed designed to push new students into conflict and plunder against one another. Gulp. Lu Sheng swallowed hard. Dangerous ideas were taking root in his mind. He turned to his four companions and voiced his thought. Given how things stand, I think we ought to adjust our plan. With Brother Fu's predictive law power, we can hunt weaker demigod teams inside the core zone. I will hold firm within the top 10 rankings. All surplus points can be divided among the rest of you. That should put every one of us well within the top 100. Gu Qinghan was immediately tempted. As the weakest member of the five-person party, even cracking the top 1,000 would be difficult for her, let alone the top 100. This might be her one and only shot. She opened her mouth to reply, but Fu Qing cut her off. Brother Lu, Qin Xuan was only a second-turn demigod propped up by resources. He ranked near the bottom among second-turn demigods. Even Pei could have handled him easily. Pei Xiaogong's eyes went wide. Am I just lacking offensive options? Why drag me into this? But others on the leaderboard are no artificially boosted prey like Qin Xuan. We must not underestimate them. Ignoring Pei Xiaogong's aggrieved stare, Fu Qing went on. My law power can predict the approximate strength and distance of foes only when they match or fall below my own law comprehension. If an enemy wields the law of shadows, concealment, or possesses predictive abilities of their own, they can scramble my readings. My judgments will grow unreliable. That risk is manageable. As long as we steer clear of groups competing for god crystals, even foes we cannot beat cannot stop us from fleeing. Lu Sheng smiled faintly. I wield the law of time. I can boost our speed by at least 30%. If we cannot win, we run. Gu Qinghan seconded the idea. Pei Xiaogong nodded too. He knew a thing or two about running away. Back when he first met Lu Sheng in the Godrealm continent, caught off guard by unknown information, he could have lasted 3 whole moves using the law of void. Very well. Seeing everyone in agreement, Fu Qing did not hesitate further. He expended source energy to trace likely paths for encountering other students. Witnessing Lu Sheng's overwhelming strength had inclined him toward hunting other competitors. He was simply far more cautious than the rest. Moments later, he lowered his hands and fixed his gaze in one direction. Northwest, 1,000 li away. Ambush. A party of 7 first-turn demigods had only just entered the core zone and defeated 2 goblin demigods when a scream erupted from their rear. Teammates at the front turned to investigate. Violent gales swept in, yanking their bodies backward against their will. Boom. A fire dragon plummeted from above. Upon impact, flames roared outward riding the wind, engulfing several square kilometers of ground. Screams rang out, cut short as a massive meteorite crashed down, reducing the students to scattered motes of starlight. Eliminated student Wang Yuhao. Target held 15,136 points. You gained 7568-inch. Eliminated student Wang Bing. Target held 13,136 points. You gained 6568-inch. Eliminated student Ouyang Nana. Target held 36,130 points. You gain 18,065-inch. For more than a month inside the core zone, Lu Sheng's 5-person squad relied on Fu Qing's predictive law power to target weaker student parties. They laid ambushes, prey from the shadows, or fought hidden when necessary. Their collective points surged steadily upward. Huff. Lu Sheng exhaled once all foes lay defeated. Rank 1. Buzo for 1,619,319 points. Rank 2. Qin Baixing, 3,583,182 points. Rank 3. Lu Sheng, 1,316,391 points. Rank 4. Morong Chueshua, 1,269,937 points. Rank 87. Fu Qing, 796,310 points. Rank 592. Fu Jingjing, 582,361 points. Rank 691. Pei Xiaogong, 582,011 points. Rank 716. Gu Qinghan, 581,099 points. Truly, hunting other competitors was the fastest way to gain points. Even with Lu Sheng taking the largest share, Every member of the party reaped massive rewards, their rankings shooting skyward. Once inside the top 1,000, however, their climb slowed sharply, nearly grinding to a halt. Two factors caused this. First, demigod-ranked students were scarce to begin with, and fewer still held god crystals. Second, other teams were also hunting demigod competitors. After a month, surviving demigod students were all seasoned, capable opponents. Striking now carried great risk. Time wore on. Specialized hunting parties targeted anyone holding god crystals, constantly shifting who possessed them. With less than a month remaining in the tournament, seizing more god crystals would grant little benefit. So what now? Pei Xiaogong looked to the others. Keep hunting other students, or go back to slay alien foes. Bu Qinghan looked torn. Killing aliens earns too little. Defeating a second-turn alien only gives 1,000 points. We could return to the outer zone and hunt weaker false-god-ranked students. They ought to have thousands of points each by now. It might feel underhanded, yet it beats fighting powerful alien demigods in the core zone while watching our backs for surprise alien attacks. Time works against us. Fu Qing shook his head, unpersuaded. Even if we rush back, few student targets will remain. Keep going then. Pei Xiaogong turned toward Lu Shang. High risk, high reward. The surviving teams are strong, yet their point totals are huge. After so many battles in the core zone, many are likely running low on source energy. Lu Shang had been the main force in every fight this past month, so their group still retained ample source energy for combat. Lu Shang stroked his chin, deep in thought. He stood third overall, yet his hold on a top 10 spot was fragile. Rivals could overtake him at any moment. Should he keep gambling on plunder, or retreat to the outer zone to safeguard his current score? Bzzzt. Just as all eyes waited for his decision, Lu Shang's calm expression twisted with alarm. Without a single warning cry, he raised his palm and heaved it upward. Boom! An enormous earthen wall erupted from the ground. Layered rock rose dozens of feet high like an impenetrable shield. The instant the wall solidified, a figure materialized out of shadow and slashed down against it. Metal rang with a sharp clang. Foiled, the attacker did not press the fight. His form dissolved back into shadow and slipped away in an instant. Yet the sense of mortal peril lingered. He was still nearby. We have been marked. Lu Shang frowned. His powerful mental awareness spread outward, detecting multiple formidable auras closing in fast. Ah! Fu Qing cried out, clutching his eyes. He grabbed Fu Jingjing and fled. Run! It is Bu Zhou, rank 1. More than one third-turn demigod is with him. What? Shock flashed across Gu Qinghan's face. She cast a collective speed boost buff over the 5 of them and sprinted in another direction. Pei Xiaogong tore open a void portal and teleported away. Horrible luck, we ran into fellow hunters. Lu Shang cursed internally. He hurled several fireballs and fled in yet another separate direction. Power gaps widened drastically with each demigod turn. The difference between first turn and second turn was modest, yet a third-turn demigod possessed physical base attributes dozens of times greater than a second turn. One blow could shatter mountains. That was why they fled without hesitation upon hearing of third-turn foes. Resistance was pointless. Boom. No sooner had Lu Shang darted into dense woodland than an engine-like roar thundered from behind. The hair on his neck stood on end. Before he could glance back, a silver mech materialized directly in front of him and drove a fist hard into his chest. Bang! Deep within the forest, Lu Shang's chest caved inward. His body flew backward, snapping dozens of trees in his path. Mid-flight, green light washed over him. His injuries healed instantly, and he used the momentum to keep running. Damn it! How could our luck be this terrible? 5 of us, and Bu Zhou fixates on me alone. I thought the God Realm continent was a virtual realm. How is he allowed to bring a mech in? That should be against the rules. Lu Shang seethed inwardly. The menacing aura drew closer still, and he dared not slow his pace. I cannot defeat him with my current strength. What do I do? Lu Shang agonized. During their month in the core zone, the group had often spoken of Qin Baixing and Bu Zhou. Qin Baixing was a grandson of an elder from the Qin clan. He had awakened the unique SSS rank talent Divine Feet Bone the moment the small realm opened and reached third-turn demigod back in high school. Bu Zhou came from an ordinary family on a remote star. He shot to fame in an assessment and revealed a hidden SSS rank talent focused on machinery. Recognized as a grade A prodigy, he received direct admission to Ziwei Academy and later signed an investment contract with the Fu clan. Against an ordinary third-turn demigod, some room for negotiation might exist. Bu Zhou was far from ordinary. Bzzzt. The mechanical roar drew near once more. In the blink of an eye, the air beside Lu Shang was violently ripped apart. The silver mech appeared out of nowhere, its massive frame filling his field of vision, crushing pressure bearing down on him. It was impossibly fast. The mech's arms blurred. Shoulder joints whirred at high speed, mechanical components screaming. In a split second, hundreds of fists hammered toward him. Bang, 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 bang. Blows landed relentlessly across Lu Sheng's body. Chest, shoulders, abdomen, ribs, arms. Flesh split open, blood splattered everywhere. Strangely, Lu Sheng felt no pain. It was as though everything but Buzhou, even his own senses, had been slowed. Boom. The final punch sent Lu Sheng flying like a broken kite. The odd time warp sensation faded. Buzhou wielded a law power akin to bullet time. Sparkle, sparkle. Lu Sheng landed steady on his feet. Not a scratch marred his body, as if the brutal beating had never happened. With his mastery over the law of life, so long as he was not killed outright, even catastrophic wounds healed in an instant. Still standing, a note of surprise came from within the silver mech. Brother Bu, let me be frank. Lu Sheng spoke. My comprehension of the law of life runs deep. I cannot beat you, yet killing me will cost you considerable time. He made a reasonable proposal. Why waste effort? Let us both back off. Silence hung in the air the moment his words left his mouth. Cool blue light flickered in the mech's electronic visor. Buzhou's flat voice boomed through external speakers, metallic and dismissive. Back off. A mere grade A candidate, second-turn demigod. Do you truly believe I cannot finish you? Bzzz. Energy hummed to life. The reactor core in the mech's chest blazed bright. Buzhou drew a laser sword. Red light seared across mechanical limbs, and his speed surged higher still. Shit. Lu Sheng swore under his breath and resumed fleeing. He had meant to display his resilience and persuade Buzhou to abandon the chase. Instead, Buzhou had taken his suggestion as open provocation. Swish, swish, swish. With the mech's assistance, Buzhou quickly closed the gap. He swung his blade, and a blue-white sword light sliced through the air from above, gathering terrifying high temperature and sharp edges into a massive luminous arc. In the blink of an eye, a long, narrow gash was torn open across Lu Sheng's waist and abdomen. But before blood could seep out, a layer of green light appeared over the wound, and it healed. Uft. Another slash severed his right arm clean off, yet a brand new arm immediately grew back in its place. One more strike cut his legs into countless fragments, only for them to restore themselves the next second. Buzhou kept slashing from behind, while Lu Sheng frantically deployed 5-element spells for defense and continuously drew on the law of life to heal himself. This went on for 7 full days and 7 nights. No matter how Buzhou unleashed his laws or bombarded him with mechanical weaponry, every time he thought he had finally eliminated his foe, Lu Sheng would bounce back to full health right on the brink of death. Buzhou flew into a blazing rage. He was Buzhou, bearer of the one-of-a-kind SSS-rank talent, a top-tier elite of Ziwei Academy. As one of the Academy's acknowledged peak third Transcendence demigods, how could he fail to bring down a mere second Transcendence demigod? This was absurd. If word got out, how would he hold his standing among the circle of top-tier elites? Damn it, just how profound is his comprehension of the law of life? My origin power is nearly exhausted, yet he still seems to have reserves left. Buzhou's eyes blazed red, and genuine confusion crept into his mind. As a peer on par with Qin Baixing, his own law comprehension stood at an astonishing 19%. He was merely one step away from hitting 20% and unlocking his second law trait. He had always believed he was more than a match for any peer of his generation. An impossible thought flickered through Buzhou's mind. Could the second Transcendence demigod he had been hunting actually possess law comprehension exceeding 20%? The notion was cast aside an instant later. No, that cannot be. I know every single one of the 13 top-tier elites in this intake. How could a mere elite candidate reach such heights? He must also be at his last gasp. Convincing himself of this, Buzhou pushed his speed higher once more. Elsewhere, Lu Sheng was indeed in poor condition. Under the relentless assault, even with his life origin and wood origin working in tandem, barely 1 or 2/10 of his origin power remained. If this dragged on, he might not hold out until the competition ended. Will this ever end? Harried by the figure still hot on his heels, Lu Sheng's temper flared. He had never met someone so stubborn. Knowing full well how hard he was to kill, yet still chasing him relentlessly, what was the point? With that time and effort, Buzhou could have hunted alien demigods and other students and racked up millions of competition points. Why fixate solely on him? Still, Lu Sheng had no intention of waiting passively for defeat. He quickly pulled up his map. 2 bright dots kept flashing, marking individuals who held divine crystals. One of them was Buzhou, right on his tail. The second marker, thanks to Lu Sheng's deliberate maneuver, lay only a few thousand kilometers away. Anyone still holding a divine crystal after Buzhou's hunting spree had to be extraordinarily powerful. Most likely, this was Qin Baixing's party, ranked second on the leaderboard. Since he could not shake Buzhou off, he might as well drag him straight into trouble. I refuse to believe Qin Baixing would pass up this chance to seize first place. Glancing backward, Lu Sheng sharply changed course, drawing Buzhou toward the location of the second marker. Blinded by unbridled fury, Buzhou never stopped to question why his prey had turned. He gave chase like a maddened beast. Meanwhile, thousands of kilometers away, earth-shattering combat erupted amid a mountain range. High above the peaks stood four third transcendence elven demigods, tall and slender, with blade-like pointed ears and pale emerald glimmer in their pupils. They wore emerald armor, and each gripped an ancient, distinguished bow. Rage twisted their handsome features. Damned human die! The four elven divinities drew their bows simultaneously. For emerald arrow streaks pierced the firmament, punching through multiple mountain ranges toward the human divinity before them. Where the arrow light passed, rock crumbled soundlessly, trees turned to fine dust, and a distinct vacuum channel tore through the air. Humph! Qin Baixing merely snorted. Divine bones within him blazed with dazzling radiance. Overwhelming power welled up from deep in his marrow, surging up his spine and flooding his body before converging in his right arm. Boom! He threw a punch. Divine light shot skyward, shattering the four arrow streaks into fragments. Bang! The mountain beneath his feet exploded. Like a raging beast, Qin Baixing charged straight for the four elven demigods. The time it took to drink a cup of tea later, Qin Baixing returned to the mountain peak. The four elven demigods were nowhere to be seen. At this moment, a heavy-set young man from his party stepped forward to report, his tone heavy. Brother Qin, someone bearing a divine crystal is heading rapidly toward us. Their approach looks hostile. Is it Buzhou? Qin Baixing frowned in puzzlement. As a rival, he knew Buzhou led the most deadly hunting squad on the Divine Realm continent, constantly preying on competitors holding divine crystals. At this stage, only he and Buzhou still possessed divine crystals. They had crossed paths not long ago. Back then, Buzhou had rapidly surpassed him and built a substantial point lead by raiding fellow students alongside his team, so Qin Baixing had chosen to retreat at their encounter. Why was Buzhou charging straight for him now? Was he that confident he could defeat him? Everyone get ready. A major battle may be coming. Qin Baixing stretched his limbs, battle fever burning in his eyes. Even if Buzhou had not come for him, he would have sought Buzhou out anyway. Though Ziwei Academy never stated it openly, past competition records made it clear. The rewards for first place in the new student grand tournament were extraordinarily generous, offering immense benefits even for core heirs of great aristocratic clans. He would fight tooth and nail for that #1 spot. At his words, every member of his team readied themselves for combat. After 2 months slaying alien demigods, we finally get to fight other students. If we take him down, Brother Qin should jump straight to first place, right? Win this fight, and every single one of us will lock in a top 50 rank when the tournament ends. Shortly afterward, 2 speeding figures burst into view before Qin Baixing and his companions. One fleeing, one pursuing. What struck them as strange was that the fleeing young man's face lit up with obvious relief upon spotting them. While running, he shouted, "Everyone, the man behind me is Buzhou. His origin power is almost exhausted. Defeat him, and you will earn over 2 million competition points instantly." Qin Baixing's expression shifted as he studied the 2 figures. The one shouting was covered in wounds, his clothes tattered, his aura flickering and unstable, clearly nearing his limit. Behind him, Buzhou's mech still roared, yet its core energy source burned dim. Still, Qin Baixing held back from attacking at once. He shot a subtle glance toward the heavy-set young man beside him, signaling him to use his law ability to assess both men's true conditions. He was no fool. He would not blindly trust words from a stranger. What if this was a ploy to goad them into fighting, only for the stranger to strike while both sides were worn down? Damn it, he is trying to drag me down into elimination alongside him. Seeing Qin Baixing's group, Buzhou finally snapped out of his bloodlust. He shot Lu Sheng a bitter glare, then spun around without hesitation, pushing his mech to its limits as he fled back the way he had come. 7 days and 7 nights of chasing Lu Sheng had carried him so far that he had long since lost contact with his own squad. On top of that, his origin power was drained. His combat strength might not even reach half of his peak. Fighting Qin Baixing's full team left him virtually no chance of victory. He had no intention of throwing away all his hard-earned points. Brother Qin, Buzhou, and that second Transcendence demigod are both in terrible shape. My readings confirm Buzhou has been traveling at high speed with a divine crystal for 7 days. He has been chasing this demigod nonstop. He led Buzhou over here because he had run out of options, hoping we would finish Buzhou off for him. Who would have thought this second Transcendence demigod could survive 7 days of being hunted by Buzhou? As Buzhou fled, the heavy-set young man finished his analysis, voice sharp with excitement. Brother Qin, we cannot let them get away. He hopes to use us to dispose of Buzhou. A cold smile tugged at Qin Baixing's lips. Fatty, Xia, come with me after Buzhou. The rest of you pursue that second Transcendence demigod. Let neither escape. He still could not fathom how a mere second Transcendence demigod had endured Buzhou's assault for so long. Yet that no longer mattered. Points delivered right to their hands were not to be passed up. Qin Baixing's divine bones hummed. He shattered rock beneath his feet and darted forward in pursuit of Buzhou. Fatty and Xia raced after him. The other 5 second Transcendence demigods on their team split off to give chase to the supposedly gravely wounded fugitive. Boom. Lu Sheng had barely run a short distance when the ground exploded without warning. A hill forged from Earth origin rose out of nowhere, blocking his path. Where do you think you're going? A stocky young man appeared atop the hill, a mocking smirk on his face. Lu Sheng's face paled. He twisted to flee in another direction, only for 4 more figures to materialize, sealing off every escape route. Fellow student, you are far too naive. Did you truly believe that luring Buzhou here would make us spare you? A young woman holding a cyan short sword blocked his rear path, sneering. Quit wasting words. Eliminate him quickly. Then we can go help Brother Qin. Understood. A gaunt man blurred out of sight. In the next instant, he teleported directly before Lu Sheng. He threw a punch. White steam billowed, and a visible shockwave rippled through the air. To their complete astonishment, the supposedly spent second Transcendence demigod did not retreat. He advanced instead and threw a punch of his own. Boom. The moment their fists collided, a crisp cracking sound rang out. The gaunt man's entire arm shattered bone by bone, flesh tearing open. The force sent him flying. His back slammed hard against a boulder 100 meters away. He blacked out before he could even scream. What? The remaining 4 stared in horror. The wounds covering the second Transcendence demigod had completely vanished. All his injuries had been an act. Panic surged through them as they tried to flee, only to find a thick water wall had risen all around them, cutting off every avenue of escape. Lu Sheng wore a grim grin. His 5 elements origin burned fast within him. Fellow student, where do you think you're going? Not good. This man wields more than one law. When did he trap us here? How can his water origin be so powerful? My full power strike barely left a mark on this water wall. Damn it, this man is devious. We walked right into his trap. The young sword-wielding woman lashed out with her sword. Her blade carved a half-foot gash across the water barrier, only for surging waves to seal the wound instantly. The stocky man who commanded Earth Law attempted to burrow underground, only to discover the ground shrouded in yellow radiance, rock-hard and impenetrable. His expression darkened. This is not merely water law. It is the 5 elements law. How can this be? Common knowledge held that while the 5 elements law granted command over 5 forms of origin power, its individual effects paled compared to single attribute laws. Wielding multiple laws would fragment one's divine kingdom law shards and drastically slow progress in comprehension. How, then, could he, with 7% mastery of Earth Law, be so thoroughly outmatched? Boom, boom, boom. Before they could process what was happening, the second Transcendence demigod struck. Hundreds of golden blade streaks forced the 4 competitors apart. He then raised his hand, summoning earthen ramparts to isolate each of them in separate enclosures. Lu Sheng had burned through much of his life law fighting Buzhou, yet his 5 elements law and power law reserves remained substantial. Thanks to his SS-rank title Lord of the Earth, Earth origin was the most abundant among his 5 element sources. With law comprehension below 10%, the 4 opponents could not break through his barriers in any short span of time. That small window was more than enough for Lu Sheng to eliminate every last one of them. He moved first against the weakest among them, the sword-wielding young woman. We are both second Transcendence. I fear you not. Trapped with nowhere to run, the woman poured every last trace of her law power into her blade. She wielded the sword law, unmatched in sheer offensive might. Even if she could not kill him, this strike would deal him grievous harm. And yet, just as she focused all her will to unleash her earth-shattering strike, terror washed over her. The arm holding her sword refused to lift. Glancing down, Countless thick vines had crept silently upward from the pooled water underfoot, binding her limbs completely. She could not exert any strength. Before she could break free, a two-man thick earthen spike jutted abruptly from the water, piercing straight through her chest. Clang! The cyan sword clattered to the ground, and her form dissolved into light as she was eliminated. Student Tian Xiuxiu eliminated. Opponent held 519,347 points. You gained 269,763.5 points. Useless move, wasting time charging up. Lu Sheng curled his lip, flickered, and appeared inside the next enclosure. He unleashed a punch. Surging power law flooded forth, blasting his foe into fragments. Student Wu Jing eliminated. Opponent held 119,9133 points. You gained 599,566.5 points. Though both stood at second Transcendence demigod rank, more than 200 titles from Lu Sheng's small world subjects amplified his power. His overall combat capability outstripped ordinary Divine Kingdom natives by over tenfold. Even without drawing on law power, his strength, speed, physique, and spirit all completely outclassed other second Transcendence demigods. Now holding the upper hand in law mastery as well, overpowering these four opponents was trivial. Student Li Zilai eliminated. Opponent held. Student Qin Shaoxian eliminated. Opponent held. In less than a quarter hour, including the man he had knocked unconscious earlier, all 5 second Transcendence demigods were eliminated, their points transferred to Lu Sheng. Rank 1. Buzhou 461, 9319 points. Rank 2. Qin Baixing 409, 1528 points. Rank 3. Lu Xing 354, 0436 points. Rank 4. Murong Chuexiuet 217, 1061 points. Rank 814. Pei Xiaogong 602011 points. Rank 7013. Fu Qing 398115 points. Rank 2, 9103. Fu Jingjing 291,180.5 points. Rank 2, 9990. Gu Qinghan 290,549.5 points. Qin Baixing and Buzhou truly stood head and shoulders above the rest of the participating students. Even after Lu Sheng had eliminated 5 of Qin Baixing's teammates and gained over 2 million points, he only climbed to 3rd place on the leaderboard. It all depends on whether Qin Baixing can kill Buzhou. If Buzhou's points are halved, I will jump straight into the top 2. Lu Sheng's gaze swept across the rankings. Buzhou had activated bullet time more than 10 times during their pursuit, coming close to killing him on multiple occasions. His origin power had to be completely drained. Qin Baixing still had his allies and would stay wary of other competitors, so he must retain most of his strength. His odds of defeating Buzhou were high. Ziwei Academy never publicized the top 10 rewards for the new student tournament, for the prizes were so lavish they would draw dangerous covetous eyes. Still, word spread among academy students, making top 10 guaranteed at minimum a reward equivalent to an SS rank building. Such structures were extremely rare even on Ziwei Star, one of the 10 most prominent planets under Great Xia, and served as core facilities for mid-rank divinities. One could only imagine the rewards reserved for 3rd, 2nd, and especially 1st place. As one of Great Xia's 3 official top-tier academies, it spared no expense nurturing its students. A shame Fu Qing, Fu Jingjing, and Gu Qinghan fell to Buzhou's squad. They may not even break into the top 10,000. Yet Pei Xiaogong somehow got away. Lu Xing shook his head. At that time, hunted by a peak 3rd Transcendence demigod such as Buzhou, he could barely safeguard himself, let alone come to their rescue. Some opportunities and accomplishments relied heavily on luck. With good fortune, like Pei Xiaogong, one might escape alive and stand out among tens of millions of new students, securing a spot within the top 1,000. With bad fortune, like Fu Qing, one might possess top 1,000 caliber strength yet struggle even for a top 10,000 rank. Lu Sheng's own narrow escape and unexpected gains came not only from his power and deceptive acting, but also a measure of luck. Had Qin Baixing dispatched another 3rd Transcendence demigod from his team to hunt him, everything might have turned out differently. Be that as it may, he had won this round. Brother Qin, please do take him down. He sent up a silent wish, then swiftly departed the area. Elsewhere, after a full day and night of flight, Buzhou was cornered inside a mountain valley. There was nowhere left to run. Say, Brother Buzhou, after months apart, how is it your divine kingdom's strength has seemingly regressed? You could not finish off a mere 2nd Transcendence demigod, not even an official top-tier elite. after chasing him for 7 days and 7 nights? And you burned through all your origin power in the process. Qin Baixing looked over Buzhou's battered form and spoke mockingly. A mere second, transcendence demigod. At those words, Buzhou's facial muscles twitched. You call that ordinary second, transcendence demigod ordinary? Now that his mind had cleared and he could think back over everything, he understood. The man he had hunted for 7 days and 7 nights, who kept bouncing back from near death, must hold law of life comprehension exceeding 20%, as was common knowledge. Before one can fully master a complete set of laws, there are 3 critical stages that give rise to 3 distinct traits of the laws. 20%, 50%, 90%. That guy definitely possesses the second trait. Otherwise, there is no way his recovery speed could be so swift and his staying power so enduring. If he got another chance to start over, he would never go after that fellow again. Unfortunately, there are no second chances. Buzhou glanced behind Qin Baixing. A cold sneer echoed from within his mechanical mask. You are celebrating too early. Check your teammates' names on the ranking board. Judging by the time, they are most likely already eliminated. Qin Baixing's heart jolted. Could the opponent still have a backup plan? He kept a calm exterior but quickly opened the points leaderboard. Sure enough, none of his 5 remaining teammates appeared among the top 100 spots, nor even within the top 1,000. Their original ranking had been fairly high. It was impossible for them to drop so far in just one single day. There was only one possible explanation. They had been eliminated. Damn it, he had fallen into a trap. Could it be that Buzhou was allied with that earlier man? Had this whole pursuit been an act meant to split their group and pick them off one by one? Did that mean they had walked straight into the enemy's encirclement from the very beginning, falling step by step into the trap without ever noticing? In that instant, the way Qin Baixing looked at Buzhou changed. He had originally thought Buzhou was merely a genius from an obscure place who had awakened an SSS, rank hidden talent by luck, and become a grade A elite by attaching himself to the Fu clan. He had never expected such terrifying mental acuity. That level of acting and scheming was truly astonishing. Qin Baixing stepped forward and cupped his fists. Brother Bu, your wit is comparable to that of a demon. I offer you my sincere admiration. Buzhou, bewildered on the inside, he heard Qin Baixing continue speaking. Yet even though I shall suffer defeat today, I have no intention of waiting passively for my doom. Serious punch. The words had barely left his mouth when Qin Baixing stamped his feet hard against the ground. Stones and soil all around rose into the air before shattering to pieces. A deep, resonant hum emanated from within his body. The surrounding air twisted and expanded, rolling forth like surging heat waves. His muscles swelled visibly, and his frame shot upward to more than 3 meters tall. He took one stride and closed the distance to Buzhou at an uncanny speed. Then he threw a punch. Boom. The next moment, Buzhou vanished into thin air. The ground where he had stood exploded, forming a giant crater thousands of meters across. The terrain for several kilometers around crumbled entirely. Shattered rock and dust billowed upward, bursting and grinding into fine powder. The heavily injured Buzhou was instantly defeated. Yet Qin Baixing stood there in a daze. Something was wrong. 3 days later, time across the God realm continent froze. Everyone was teleported back into virtual space, and a voice resounded inside every mind. The Freshman Grand Tournament has concluded. The points leaderboard is now finalized. The final rankings will be announced. First place, Qin Baixing, 6,511,187.5 points. Second place, Lu Sheng, 3,590,113 points. Third place, Morong Chueshua, 2,316,250 points. Fourth place, Buzhou, 2,309,659.5 points. 901st place, Pei Xiaogong, 631,507 points. 9,719th place, Fu Qing, 398,115 points. 30,113th place, Fu Jingjing, 31,934th place, Gu Qinghan. The leaderboard announcement is complete. Academy rewards will be credited to student personal accounts within 1 day. Please check your accounts. Inside Fu Qing's courtyard, Pei Xiaogong and Lu Sheng were still mentally connected to virtual space, their eyes closed. Fu Qing, Fu Jingjing, and Gu Qinghan stood nearby watching them, their expressions complicated. Truth be told, they felt bitter disappointment. Fu Qing in particular, relying on his deduction abilities, had earned more points than anyone except Lu Sheng. At his peak, he had ranked within the top 100. But one misstep had cost him everything. Plunging from the top 100 all the way to nearly dropping out of the top, 10,000. The drastic shift had nearly shattered his mental state. For members of great noble clans like him, tournament rewards were secondary. What truly mattered was clan evaluation. A top 100 finish would secure sustained clan investment, guaranteeing abundant resources for the next half-year and letting his strength snowball continuously. Yet whom could he blame? High risk came with high reward. Having chosen to venture deep into the core zone to plunder other students' points, he ought to have anticipated being plundered himself. Sigh, Fu Qing let out a long breath. Gu Qinghan stared blankly at Lu Sheng's face, lost in her own thoughts. Buzz. Space trembled at that moment. Pei Xiaogong and Lu Sheng regained consciousness and returned to the real world. Awesome. Pei Xiaogong jumped up the second he woke up, pumping a fist in excitement. Finishing within the top 1,000 of the freshman tournament fell short of their original goal of top 100, but for a demigod who was not specialized in combat, it was still an outstanding result. He then noticed Fu Qing and the other two beside him. He held back the words he had been about to say. Fu Qing took a deep breath and offered his congratulations. Congratulations to Brother Pei and Brother Lu on your fine tournament results. I have arranged a feast at Dragon Fish Restaurant. Shall we go celebrate? Pei Xiaogong did not answer. Instead, he turned his gaze toward Lu Sheng. After witnessing Lu Sheng's hidden strength on the God Realm continent, everyone's attitude had subtly shifted. Within what used to be their five-person group, Lu Sheng had quietly become the de facto leader, even though the others came from powerful noble families. Under the gaze of the other four, Lu Sheng waved his hand. Not today. Rewards for top 10 academy finishers must be collected from the Treasury Pavilion. I need to head there right away. Fu Qing nodded. Claiming your rewards takes priority. I hope you find a building that suits your heart's desire. Once Lu Sheng departed, Pei Xiaogong whispered, Are we still eating? Leaving Fu Qing's courtyard, Lu Sheng drew on his past experience of redeeming an S-rank building. He quickly boarded a formation that teleported him to a floating sky island belonging to the academy. The instant he arrived, intelligent life forms on the island scanned his identity token and pulled him into a special alternate dimension. An emotionless mechanical voice echoed through the space. Verifying identity. Verification successful. Lu Sheng, citizen of Great Xia, marked grade, a candidate elite, second place finisher in the Ziwei Academy Freshman Grand Tournament. Distributing tournament rewards now. Reward 1. 1 billion strands of divinity. As soon as the mechanical voice finished speaking, Lu Sheng sensed 1 billion strands of divinity added to his account, credited instantly. His account balance had reached an unprecedented height. God, Realm, 1.001 billion strands of divinity subjects. Reward 2. 1 Supreme, Great Azure, Void Fruit, plus 1 entry permit to the Ziwei Secret Realm. Light flickered, and a glossy teal fruit-like colored glass materialized in Lu Sheng's palm. Unlike the Azure, Void Fruit he had obtained back on Blue Star, this specimen looked far more enticing. Streaks of multicolored cosmic laws swirled inside it, marking it several grades higher in quality. On top of that, an opportunity to enter the Ziwei Secret Realm was immensely valuable. With Reward 2, he would be able to push his mastery over the Power Law and 5 Elements Law past 20% and unlock their second law trait. What comes next? Lu Sheng stared at the rippling space around him, brimming with anticipation. The first 2 rewards alone excited him greatly, yet they were far from the full prize for second place in the freshman tournament. According to past precedents, the Academy always gave out at minimum 1 SS rank building. Reward 3, 1 SS rank building. Comparing against the main database via the intelligent terminal, the most suitable SS rank building for you has been selected, Heavenly Palace. A brand new card dropped into Lu Sheng's hand. Printed upon it stood a colossal palace surrounded by boundless rainbow radiance and star-studded clouds. Even as an illustration, it radiated immense, imposing power. Knowledge regarding Heavenly Palace flooded straight into Lu Sheng's mind. SS rank building. Heavenly Palace description. A world-renowned masterpiece forged through hundreds of millions of years of evolution by a cultivation civilization. It is a palace complex suspended high above the 9 heavens of a minor world, structured as 9 layered sky domains. Each sky domain contains its own independent space. Effect 1. The Heavenly Palace holds 9 sky layers with self-contained spaces. Each layer corresponds to a cultivation realm. Layer 1 for Qi. Refining cultivators. Layer 2 for foundation. Establishing cultivators. Layer 3 for golden, core cultivators, all the way to layer 9. Every layer drastically boosts cultivation speed and comprehension for practitioners of its matching realm and can accommodate hundreds of millions of cultivators. Effect 2. The Heavenly Palace automatically converts ambient spiritual energy into immortal chi, accelerating the world's environmental elevation. Effect 3. Long-term cultivation within the Heavenly Palace triggers transformations. Those dwelling in the lower 3 layers may turn into heavenly soldiers. Those in the middle 3 layers may turn into heavenly generals. Those in the upper 3 layers may turn into heavenly marshals. Units transformed this way innately wield an aura of intimidation that instills fear in other species. Their fortune rises sharply, and they absorb immortal chi at greatly increased rates. Effect 4. The Heavenly Palace comes with a defensive formation, the 9 Origin Barrier. It can cover a minor world's core territory. This barrier is extraordinarily durable. It blocks incoming outside attacks, yet permits attacks launched from within to pass outward. Sustaining it demands massive amounts of immortal chi in the presence of heavenly soldiers and generals. Effect 5. It harmonizes cosmic laws, sorting and stabilizing scattered law fragments within the minor world, speeding up a deity's comprehension of law power. Evaluation. A legendary work of the cultivation civilization. A strategic, grade-building integrating cultivation, warfare, and defense. It carries profound long-term strategic value and can serve as the core edifice of a cultivation-themed god realm. Estimated market value, 10 billion strands of divinity. No stock available for sale. May be listed for trade. Monetary deals require a set price. Barter deals require stated conditions. An SS, rank building. Truly formidable. After reading the full description, Lu Sheng's heart pounded fast. The special unit bonuses for heavenly soldiers, generals, and marshals alone would elevate his god realm's combat capacity to an entirely new tier, not to mention its many other functions. Self-contained spaces capable of housing hundreds of millions of inhabitants for mass population development. Conversion to immortal chi to upgrade world conditions. A high-grade innate defensive barrier. Harmonizing law fragments to speed up insight into cosmic principles. Every single function possessed tremendous utility. This SS rank Heavenly Palace will likely remain a core landmark for me even once I advance to true godhood. Lu Sheng breathed quickly with excitement. The Heavenly Palace's synergies with his SSS rank trait's spiritual energy tides were incredible. One could scarcely imagine how swiftly ordinary mortals would progress bathed in immortal chi. They would probably level up even while asleep. Reward distribution complete. The mechanical voice rang out slowly. Lu Sheng stored away the card and azure void fruit. He prepared to teleport out, eager to translate his new spoils into real strength. When a deep, resonant voice called out, "Little friend Lu, hold on. I wish to speak with you." Buzz. The alternate dimension of the treasury pavilion tore open. An elderly white, bearded elder stepped through the rift, standing suspended in mid-air with immense dignity. Sensing the overwhelming power emanating from him, Lu Sheng hastily bowed. "Greetings, senior. No need for formalities. My name is Sushio. You may address me as Elder Su." Sushio smiled warmly. His eyes traced over Lu Sheng as he stroked his beard, clear admiration in his expression. "Little friend Lu, from what I have learned, after entering Ziwei Academy, you have turned down investment contracts from many factions, including the Murong clan." "That is correct, senior." Lu Sheng cupped his fists in reply, while wondering inwardly. Was this old man here to recruit him as well? He appeared to hold high standing and wield great power, far more ceremonious than other factions. Still, do not be so wary, little friend Lu. As if reading Lu Sheng's thoughts, Sushio chuckled. "I do not represent any clan, nor am I affiliated with any noble house or power across Ziwei Star. I speak solely for Ziwei Academy itself. Have you heard of the 4 major factions within Ziwei Academy?" "I have some knowledge of them," Lu Sheng nodded. Spending extended time alongside Fu Qing and other scions of great houses had familiarized him with the power dynamics of Ziwei Star and Ziwei Academy. The Fu, Qin, and Murong clans represented the 3 dominant noble families, while the Academy faction answered to the Great Xia Board of Education. This elder Sushio must belong to the Academy faction. "Then what would you say if I personally took you on as my disciple today?" Sushio smiled and stated his true objective. A look of hesitation crossed Lu Sheng's face. At the end of the day, this was still recruitment under another guise. His impression of the Great Xia Board of Education had been decent so far. Its affiliated personnel acted honorably, and no strange incidents had occurred mid-competition. Yet that was hardly reason enough for him to place complete trust in them. Master-disciple bonds meant far closer ties than being an external talent patronized by a clan. Constant close contact would raise the risk of his X-ranked talent being exposed. Moreover, as a seasoned deity who had served Ziwei Academy for more than 1,000 years, Su Xiu surely maintained many disciples. With so many students under one teacher, rivalries and internal strife would no doubt run rampant, no better than joining a major noble clan. Besides, with the mechanical heavenly Tao backing him, Su Xiu had little to offer Lu Sheng. Accepting apprenticeship held less appeal than aligning with one of the three great clans. At the very least, they would shower him with ample resources. Little friend Lu, do not rush to refuse. Seeing Lu Sheng's indecision, Su Xiu raised a hand and dropped a bombshell. Are you resisting because you wish to keep your SSS rank hidden talent concealed? An SSS rank talent? Lu Sheng feigned surprise, tension flickering across his features. Precisely. Readings from the 5th Order Intelligent Entity in Linhai City, Jiangnan Province on Blue Star classified your talent as SS. Rank Spiritual, Energy Revival. Yet your performance since arriving at Ziwei Academy makes it plain that your true power runs deeper. It ought to be an SSS, rank talent centered around spiritual, energy manipulation. Watching Lu Sheng's shifting expression, Su Xiu grew more confident in the intelligent entity's deductions and gave a soft laugh. Little friend Lu hails from a remote star, region where SSS, rank talents, are unheard of. Your desire for secrecy is perfectly understandable. Your concerns are not entirely unfounded. Great Xia has witnessed cases where elite talents were assassinated by foreign race deities in the past. Lu Sheng's heart turned cold. Such events had really taken place. That victim was also an SSS, rank grade A elite. He had already reached 5th, turned demigod status by his 2nd year of study. Right on the verge of breaking through, he was struck down at enormous cost by a foreign true god who forced their way past defensive barriers. Elder Su, Underworld Sea rules, are deities only permitted to detect and invade counterparts of their own rank. Lu Sheng could not help asking. Underworld Sea restrictions, deities exploring outward would only encounter opponents of matching cultivation. False, god against false, god, demigod against demigod, lower, rank true, god against lower, rank true god. Even given precise coordinates, deities of disparate ranks could barely open world channels without the target's consent. Subjects could not cross worlds at all. That was why god, realm wars mostly pitted evenly, matched foes against one another. It allowed weaker deities like him room to grow. Otherwise, the universe would be nothing but a playground for the overwhelmingly powerful. Yet now he was hearing high-ranked deities possessed means to murder far weaker counterparts across dimensional boundaries. That defied all logic. Generally speaking, that holds true. Still, within the boundless cosmos, rare treasures exist that can temporarily bypass those limits. Forcing such a breach demands crippling sacrifices, and the invading deity almost certainly perishes in the process. Great Xia has steadily improved protective measures for its elite talents. Centuries have passed since that tragic assassination, and no comparable incident has repeated itself. And Su Xiu paused here and looked at Lu Sheng with keen interest. Foreign high, rank true, gods value their own lives. They would never pay such an exorbitant price unless the target defied all expectations as a peerless prodigy. You do possess an extremely rare SSS rank talent, yet Ziwei Academy counts several such individuals among its students. Add in those from Kyushu University, Kunlun Academy, plus other hidden geniuses across our domain, and SSS rank talents are not completely unheard of. As for the odds of you being specifically targeted, Lu Sheng did not finish his sentence, yet he understood exactly what the other party meant. Simply put, with his current talents and feats, he was far from important enough for foreign race true gods to expend enormous resources to assassinate him. Others might not know, but he knew it full well himself. Possessing X-rank talents, Lord of Entries and Fusion, he would gain more and more high-rank talents in the days ahead. His growth rate would soar, leaving peers far behind. When that day came, would the foreign races set their sights on him? Countless thoughts swirled through Lu Sheng's mind. Only a genius who survives deserves to be called a genius. Perhaps starting from today, he ought to adjust his path of development. That did not mean he had to slow the expansion of his divine kingdom. Instead, he would conceal his true strength while continuing to grow. That is what I mean, young friend Lu. Exposing your talents brings you nothing but benefits at your current stage. You can even obtain more resources to accelerate your growth. Though you got off to a late start, building a divine kingdom is no overnight task. If you join a faction now, you still stand a chance of catching up to prodigies such as Qin Baixing in the future. Compared to clan forces, taking a master gives you fewer resources, yet also imposes fewer restraints. Su Xiu finished speaking and gazed quietly at Lu Sheng. Elder Su, does taking a master require signing a divine oath? Lu Sheng asked. Naturally, Su Xiu replied in a gentle tone. All the world bustles for gain. All the world hurries for profit. Neither clans nor individuals would support you without reason. They all expected repayment for what they gave you in the future. Even formally appointed instructors at the Ziwei Academy held personal self-interest, so long as they did not break academy rules. Lu Sheng sighed and cupped his fists. Elder Su, this matter weighs heavily. I need time to think it over. Of course, here is my residence. Should you reach a decision, seek me out within Ziwei Academy. Seeing Lu Sheng's stance, Su Xiu pressed no further. With those parting words, he vanished from the space. He was convinced the young man would come to him eventually. As a peerless genius with SSS, rank talent, a touch of pride was only natural. But once he stayed longer on Ziwei Star, he would learn that raw talent alone was insufficient for divine kingdom development. Connections, resources, channels, and countless other factors played decisive roles at every turn. So, called freedom was merely the product of limited vision. Huff. Back in his courtyard, Lu Sheng quickly pulled out the gilded card representing the SS rank structure, Heavenly Palace, and placed it inside his small world. Fear of assassination by foreign races did not mean he should voluntarily curb his divine kingdom's growth, hold back, or limit his power. Build high walls, stockpile ample provisions, and bide one's time to claim kingship. As long as prodigies seemingly more outstanding than himself remained in plain sight, assassins would never target him. Conceal strength and thrive in secret. That was the true path. Boom. Inside the small world. The moment Heavenly Palace was activated, a vast bell toll echoed across heaven and earth. Beneath the gaze of countless subjects, a golden crack split open in the 9 heavens, like the very first ray of dawn piercing cloud cover. Then came a second ray, a third. Innumerable golden threads spread and interwove, tearing the sky fully open. A palace radiating boundless divine light slowly materialized. Sea of clouds roiled. Spiritual energy clouds converged from all directions, coalescing into a dazzling sea of clouds that bore the heavenly palace aloft. When the heavenly palace stood fully revealed, it blotted out the entire sky. The 9-fold heavens rose from the sea of clouds, each layer loftier, more majestic, and closer to the firmament than the one below. The immortal, mountain continent formed by 500 Panlai wonderlands appeared tiny beside the palace, little more than a floating isle. When the heavenly palace hung high, all mountains bowed low. At the very instant, heavenly palace descended. Massive spiritual energy from heaven and earth was drawn in, rapidly refined and transformed into immortal energy. In merely a few breaths, the heavenly palace was wrapped in immortal energy. The mortal lands beneath the palace were not drained by this siphoning of spiritual energy. Quite the opposite. After absorbing enormous volumes of spiritual energy, the 9-fold heavenly gates filtered and refined it layer upon layer, showering refined immortal energy back down across the land. Compared to the immortal energy leaking out from the Panlai wonderlands in the past, this outflow was far greater in quantity and vastly superior in quality. Immortal energy. Such dense, immortal energy. That palace up above, what is it? It is breathtakingly magnificent. A miracle. Our God has wrought another miracle. Thank you for your divine grace, our God. Every living being within the small world, subjects, familiars, and spirit beasts alike, felt an unprecedented pure power. Many began advancing in rank. Countless fourth-order nascent, soul cultivators surged in power. Overnight, their life essence elevated in silence, and they broke through to spirit transformation realm without realizing it. The Stonefolk and Ashstone Goblins also reaped tremendous benefits. Numerous clansmen crossed the 4th-order threshold and ascended to 5th-order beings. Soil turned fertile, trees grew wildly, seawater turned crystal clear. Visible changes unfolded across the whole world. Moreover, the true might of Heavenly Palace was only just beginning to manifest. Beneath the radiance of the Heavenly Palace, scattered, disordered rule fragments throughout the small world were sorted and integrated, gradually forming complete chains of cosmic rules. Boom. Lu Sheng in the real world received feedback from his divine kingdom. Life Principle 20.4%, 27.6%. 5. Elements Principle 13.7%, 21.1%. Might Principle 4.3%, 15.1%. The 5. Elements Principle unlocked its second feature, unity of the 5 elements. Lu Sheng stretched out his right hand and spread his fingers. 5 streams of differently hued spiritual energy gathered, swirling above his palm. When the 5 elements nourished one another, endless vitality was born. No longer mutually repellent, they intertwined and merged under special rules, finally taking shape as a colorful lotus blossom. Transformed power born from uniting the energies of all 5 elements. Sensing the terrifying force contained within the colorful lotus in his palm, Lu Sheng was filled with joy. While being hunted by Bu Zhou on the God Qin continent, he had attempted to unleash attacks using the 5 elements principle, yet could barely scratch the opponent's defenses. Everything changed with unity of the 5 elements. He was confident that even Bu Zhou at the time of the newcomer grand competition would never dare take this technique head on. The 9-layer barrier formation native to Heavenly Palace finished loading completely. Once enough heavenly soldiers and generals completed their training, it would serve as the final line of defense for the Divine Kingdom. At this point, Heavenly Palace was fully activated. Lu Sheng looked into his small world. Under the governance of the mechanical Heavenly Tao, large numbers of subjects were heading for the 9-fold heavens of Heavenly Palace to cultivate. Master, after Heavenly Palace was deployed, conditions within the small world have undergone tremendous shifts. Your divine resources are abundant, yet many new structures need to be purchased. Furthermore, spirit, stone vein output can no longer keep pace with your divine kingdom's consumption. Mass quantities of spirit stones must be procured. Breakthroughs have been achieved in research, institute projects. Mass, producible small-scale war robots matching 4th order life forms have been developed, yet production demands vast quantities of high-grade renewable metallic materials. The immortal energy quality is so high that B-rank cultivation arts can no longer convert it efficiently. It is recommended that enough. Lu Sheng cut him off. You take full charge of small world planning and administration. Compile a list of required structures and materials. Self-awareness was a precious virtue. He only needed to grasp the general direction and outcomes of these matters. He could not hope to untangle every minor detail, even if he read them. The mechanical Heavenly Tao was utterly loyal and possessed computing power rivaling that of an entire world. He could entrust everything to it. He only needed to conduct periodic inspections and reap the rewards. In the days that followed, the small world entered a phase of explosive development. Hordes of cultivators took up residence in Heavenly Palace. The Yin Kingdom and Taishu sect dissolved, giving rise to a brand new social order ruled by the mechanical Heavenly Tao. Beneath it lay a 3-tiered hierarchy of marshals, generals and soldiers arranged according to the layers of the 9-fold heavens. Cultivators gazed up at the immortal palace, each striving to reach higher heavenly layers. Beneath the Heavenly Palace stretched the mortal realm, blanketed by mechanical constructs. Robots of every description permeated all walks of life. To grant easier access to the 9-fold heavens for cultivation, a towering steel ladder piercing the clouds was constructed. Mortals named it the Ascension Stairway. Thanks to the arrival of Heavenly Palace, vast tracts of new land became available, and the population surged explosively. 1 month later, the small world had been remade beyond recognition. God, Qin, Lu Sheng Godhood, second, turned demigod small, world area, 14,120,000 square kilometers subject races, human. Subject population, 337,829,063 void, refining realm, 5,132,401, spirit, transformation realm, 31,642,180, 4th order life, forms cultivation arts, S, rank, 9, thunder seal art, burning, heaven 9 revolutions, mysterious, water spring formula, principles, life principle 36.5%, 5, elements principle 26.1%, might principle 21, 1% talents, X, rank lord of entries, fusion SSS, rank spiritual, energy tide, mechanical era, heavenly Tao rewards diligence, divine, craft domain, SS, rank abundant all realms, eternal ward demon body, ruler of departed souls, health and longevity, primordial beast physique grand, formation master, berserk, War God Blood, Lord of Earth, Beast, God Throne, Golden Age, Lord of Nightfall. S. Rank Bond with all trees, Undying War, Emperor Physique, Multitude of Races, Distortion Force, Thunder, God Physique A. Rank Metal, Gold Physique, Tide Walker, Legion's Eye, Purification, Extremity Walker. Familiars, Elemental Envoys Adults, 910,342. Young, 5,111,973. Stonefolk 5th Order, 13. Ashstone Goblins 5th Order, 361 Wonders. Prunglai Wonderland times 1,000. Grand Academy of Arts times 1,000. Structures, Heavenly Palace SS. Rank, Immortal Great Wall SS. Rank, Special Structure Green, Lotus Heart. Milk Pool times 10,000. Special Structure Crimson Waters times 65. S. Rank Spiritual. Energy Refinery, Well times 101. S. Rank Femto. Printer times 100. S. Rank Heavenly, I times 1. A. Rank Spirit. Energy Preservation Vault times 1,000. A. Rank Spirit. Energy Data Matrix times 100. A. Rank Circulating Smelter times 200. A. Rank 9. Tier Pill Pagoda times 1,000. A. Rank Training Ground times 1,000. A. Rank Mechanical Heart times 1. A. Rank Mysterious. Water Pass times 10. Special Structure Wellspring of Life times 36B. Rank Spirit. I Spring times 913 Assets. S. Rank Spirit. Plant 10,000 Year. Old Elemental Divine. Tree times 1. First Order Functional Robots times 100. 000. A. Rank Cyber Mech times 1,000. Small Scale War Robots times 50. 000. A. Rank Weapons times 90. 000. Large Scale Spatial Rings times 1,000. Diverse Large Scale and Medium Scale Mineral Veins. Crimson Jellyfish times 6. 500. 000. Order Nightfall Griffin Kings times 370. 000. Divine Essence. 378 million strands. Bolstered by 1 billion strands of Divine Essence awarded for second place in the Newcomer Grand Competition, Lu Sheng could finally push his small world resources to their absolute limits. 1,000 green Lotus Heart milk pools yielded upwards of 100 million strands of Divine Essence each month. 65 Crimson Waters brought in 650 million strands of Divine Essence per month, adding income from medicinal pills refined by tens of millions of alchemists, formation, discs, weaponry, and robot sales. Lu Sheng's net monthly asset income had broken past 1 billion strands of Divine Essence. Even direct descendants of great super clans such as Fuqing and Pei Xiaogong might not match that total combined monthly budget for their divine kingdom development. On top of all this, Lord of Entries unlocked numerous new entries. F. Rank, breath holding, light, footed movement, wind sensing, hearing to discern position, accelerated reproduction. E. Rank, night, vision adaptation, symbiosis with Flores. C. Rank, thunder mastery, clan unity. Then through fusion, he combined them to forge higher rank entries. S. Rank, paradise prosperity, plus A. Rank, beast tamer SS. Rank, beast, God Throne. Beast, God Throne grants absolute bloodline suppression and affinity toward all living beings. Beasts, spirit beasts, magical beasts, dragon, kind, insects, and more. Understands and can manipulate the speech and intentions of all beasts. All contracted beasts under your command gain a 3,000% boost to all attributes. Taming success rate is absolute for targets of lower rank. Tamed creatures maintain unwavering loyalty and can never betray their tamer. S. Rank, paradise prosperity, plus B. Rank, civilization pioneer, plus C. Rank, research acceleration SS. Rank, golden age. Golden age. Reproduction rate plus 3,000%. No birthing risks. Infant. Mortality rate drops to 0. Civilization advancement speed plus 1,000%. Subjects enjoy drastically extended base lifespans. Perpetually peak physical condition. Intelligence and creativity keep rising with age. Probability of internal strife, crime, and treason falls to 0. Newborns invariably inherit the optimal talents of both parents. A rank Thunder War Physique plus Crank Swift Stride plus Crank Thunder Mastery plus a rank Metabolic Acceleration Strength Thunder God Physique. Cultivation Speed for Thunder Tribute Arts plus 1,000%. Chance for descendants to awaken Thunder's spiritual roots greatly increased. Metabolic rate plus 1000%. Stamina recovery speed in battle plus 500%. S-rank Divine Forging Arts plus S-rank Grandmaster Smith plus rank Diamond Body plus E-rank Grip Enhancement SS-rank Divine Craft Domain Unique. Construction speed plus 10,000%. Architectural talent plus 10,000%. Every completed structure automatically rises one quality grade. Forging success rate plus 10,000%. Forging speed plus 10,000%. Finished works come pre-equipped with 3 special properties: spiritual energy affinity, weapon spirit, and self-repair. All structures and weapons under your possession automatically mend damage. Weapons forged by your subjects grow stronger the longer they are wielded. A rank Bloodmoon Hunter plus Crank Shadow Stalking plus Crank Agile Frame plus Frank Lightfoot Movement S-rank Lord of Nightfall. All attributes rise by 1000% under night conditions. Perception increases by 1000%. Ignores darkness, mist, spirit energy interference, and all other visual obstructions. While within shadows or moonlight, your presence is completely erased. No method, divine sense, thermal scanning, scent, hearing, or otherwise, can detect you. After multiple failed attempts, he successfully fused 3 S-rank talents and 1 SS-rank talent. Undoubtedly, his power had soared to new heights. I am fully activated. Staring at his Divine Kingdom panel, Lu Sheng's heart swelled with ambition. His rate of power advancement was no longer measured in months, but in days. His strength visibly grew greater every single day. Lu Sheng gazed toward the 6th layer of the ninefold heavens inside Heavenly Palace, where hundreds of thousands of 6th-order life forms, Void Refining Realm cultivators, trained. Barely 2 months had passed since he advanced to 2nd-turn demigod, yet close to 1,000 cultivators stood at the peak of Void Refining, ready to break through at any moment. He might even reach 3rd turn faster than he had advanced from 1st turn to 2nd turn. How could advancing to higher realms take less time? Lu Sheng let out a faint chuckle. Such absurd feats could only happen to someone like himself. Besides resources and statistics, one development caught Lu Sheng entirely off guard. His 2nd S-rank structure, the Immortal Great Wall. He had assumed that even with entry talent bonuses, his subject's construction skill would only yield in a rank structure at best. Instead, the base result was S-rank. Then under the effect of Divine Craft Domain, its quality climbed one further grade, landing at the unexpected S-rank tier. Within the small world, a colossal barrier stretched across the entire border. Its walls were cast from ancient primal rock mixed with advanced mechanical alloys. Hundreds of zhang high and dozens of zhang thick, it coiled across the land like the spine of a slumbering giant dragon. The wall did not run in a rigid straight line. It wound along mountain ridges, stretching all the way to the ends of the world. Merely beholding it inspired awe and dread, an impression of absolute invincibility. At regular intervals along the wall sat a rank armaments, 9 heaven radiance cannons. Each cannon cost more than 1,000 strands of divine essence. Not even 7th-order or 8th-order beings could withstand a full power blast from these cannons. This was only the outer ring of defenses. Behind the 9 heaven radiance cannons lay integrated grand formations, war robots, and war airships. Coupled with 10 ranked defensive structures, mysterious water pass, purchased for coastal zones, plus the 9-layer barrier formation of core Heavenly Palace, his Divine Kingdom's defensive capacity reached a seamless, integrated level. Master, following the newcomer grand competition, you carry the mark of Class A Candidate Prodigy. According to Ziwei Academy statistics, this mark signifies high odds of promotion to full Class A Prodigy. My analyses indicate that your total Divine Kingdom strength already qualifies you for a spot within the top 10 million of the Prodigy rankings. You could well be designated a Class A Prodigy. The mechanical Heavenly Dao's voice echoed beside his ear. Then what are we waiting for? Lu Sheng retrieved his identity token and sent his consciousness inside it. So much time had passed. He wished to see exactly where his current power stood among all students of Ziwei Academy. Ziwei Battlefield activate. The instant he entered the Ziwei Battlefield, an artificial intelligence voice sounded beside him. Verifying identity. Ziwei Academy first-year student, Lu Sheng. Your current standing on the Prodigy rankings is 23,967,413. The highest ranked opponent you may normally challenge is 23,957,413. However, Special Academy tagging for your identity suggests a severe mismatch between listed rank and actual power. New permissions have been unlocked. You may freely select any opponent ranked 10 million or lower on the Prodigy rankings. Your challenge range is expanded to cover a span of 100,000 ranks. Please select your desired opponent. As the voice faded, an electronic light screen materialized before Lu Sheng, displaying entries from the Prodigy rankings. The highest rank he could target was the 10 millionth spot, occupied by Fu Qiu, a second-year student of third-turn demigod rank. The Ziwei Academy artificial intelligence is rather reasonable. It saves me a great deal of trouble. Lu Sheng nodded in satisfaction. His initial rank lay well beyond 20 million. Under ordinary rules, he would have needed over 1,000 consecutive challenges merely to scrape the tail end of the 10 million bracket. Now things became far more convenient. Lu Sheng stretched out his hand, tapped Fu Qiu's name, and selected Confirm. Your opponent is Fu Qiu, a second-year student at Ziwei Academy, third-turn demigod grade B prodigy. Generating virtual world scenario boom. In the next instant, Lu Sheng's consciousness was transported high into the endless sky, with the projection of his own virtual minor world stretching out below. Having spent quite some time at Ziwei Academy, Lu Sheng's understanding of the Ziwei battlefield had grown from superficial familiarity to thorough knowledge. First of all, not only the Ziwei battlefield, but also the Kunlun battlefield and Kyushu battlefield. All their virtual data were maintained uniformly by Great Xia's supreme intelligent life form. Not even the Academy principal held access to specific information. Second, the rules of the Ziwei battlefield fell into two categories, invasion and defense. Simply put, to climb the rankings, one had to invade the god realms of prodigies on the leaderboard, destroy the opponent's virtual god realm core, and you would take their rank. At the same time, others could challenge your god realm as well. Therefore, holding on to rank relied not merely on the strength of one's subjects, but also on constructing defensive buildings, defensive weapon emplacements, and other installations to fend off outside assaults. Lu Sheng's initial rank had been 22,030,000, yet it had slipped past 23,960,000 precisely for this reason. It was worth noting that data on the Ziwei battlefield was not updated in real time. It was based on the student's last entry into the battlefield. Rumble once the virtual world finished generating, a deafening detonation erupted at the edge of the minor world. Immediately afterward, a world passage tore open at its boundary. On the other side lay Fu Qiu's virtual minor world. As swarms of subjects poured through, the state of the opposing minor world unfolded fully before Lu Sheng's eyes. What met his gaze first was nothing but barren wasteland. Nothing existed here. No buildings, no spirit plants, not a single living creature. It resembled an isolated war zone. Further into the distance rose an unbroken steel city wall. On top of it, numerous spirit energy cannons were already aimed in this direction, their muzzles glinting with menacing light. Beyond that, countless colossal war cruisers hovered across the sky, while innumerable mechanical life forms streamed toward the battlefield from the rear. A mechanical god realm. The moment the world passage opened, Fu Qiu's minor world subjects sprang into action with astonishing efficiency. Such was the advantage of a mechanical civilization. Even across a minor world spanning tens of millions of square kilometers, information could spread to every corner in an instant. As expected of the gatekeeper sitting at rank 10 million, he truly has some capability, Lu Sheng thought to himself. Down below, under the command of the mechanical heavenly Tao, Lu Sheng's human army did not launch an immediate assault against the wall. Instead, hordes of robots were sent forward to clear the way. Tens of millions of low-rank robots advanced onward. Before they could draw near the city wall, boom! A huge section of soil split apart, erupting into towering flames that swallowed thousands of robots in an instant. That seemingly empty outer wasteland was in fact riddled with countless traps buried beneath, lying in wait for invaders to step onto them. For Lu Sheng, however, these traps would not inflict heavy losses. Under the mechanical heavenly Tao's control, the robots paid no heed to the wreckage of their fallen comrades. Second and third waves of mechanical hordes marched over the debris of those ahead, triggering and neutralizing the outer traps one after another. As they pressed deeper, the cannons atop the steel wall stirred to life and began bombarding the robot army. Boom, boom, boom. A single volley wiped out more than 10 million robots. Fu Qiu must have broken through to third-turn demigod not long ago. He does not possess many seventh-order life forms and relies chiefly on defensive buildings and weaponry. Observing the aura emanating from creatures upon the wall through the senses of his subjects, Lu Sheng made his assessment. Fewer than 100 seventh-order mechanical life forms could be sensed, and merely a little over 1 million sixth-order mechanical life forms, not an overwhelming force. The real threat lay in his defensive installations. Lu Sheng glanced down, and the mechanical heavenly Tao executed its second course of action. Large numbers of human cultivators formed the Grade A Azure Sky, mountain-suppressing Grand Formation, anchored by void-refining realm cultivators and supported by hundreds of thousands of divine transformation realm cultivators. Buffed by the Grandmaster of Array Path's title and numerous other bonuses, this Grade A formation had been honed to unparalleled perfection, unleashing overwhelming might in this moment. Layer upon layer of towering formation barriers materialized. Shells from Grade A spirit energy weapons struck them, yet could only stall for a brief instant. They could not even shatter the barriers. Meanwhile, countless cultivators mounted fourth-order Nightfall Griffins and soared high into the sky. Shouldering Grade A weaponry, they unleashed relentless fire against the wall's defensive emplacements. While the frontal forces drew enemy fire, large numbers of high-rank cultivators with dark spirit roots had stealthily slipped toward the city wall. SS Grade Title Ruler of Nightfall. Empowered by the title and concealment arts, not even the S-grade building Heavenly I could detect their movements. To mechanical life forms, this was equivalent to humanity being robbed of their eyes, a fatal disadvantage. To Lu Sheng's subjects, the 100-meter-tall steel wall was no more challenging than flat ground. With a single leap, they landed atop the ramparts, then struck out like wolves among sheep, slaughtering mechanical life forms across the wall in droves. Fifth and sixth-order mechanical life forms attempted to stop them, yet laser rounds pinged and clanged off their bodies, unable so much as pierce their spirit energy shields. In contrast, a casual strike from Lu Sheng's subjects reduced the machines to scrap. At equivalent cultivation ranks, Lu Sheng's subjects were now leagues stronger than the subjects of other divinities. These cultivators moved across the wall with effortless ease, destroying every defensive installation in their path. Only 1 month of Godrealm time had passed when the defensive line collapsed completely. Lu Sheng's subject casualties totaled less than 1 million. It was only at this point that Lu Sheng fully grasped how monstrous his minor world subjects truly were. Buffed by more than 100 power-boosting titles, such as Eternal War Demon Body, Primal Spirit Beast Physique, Blood Mad War God, Lord of the Earth, and Immortal Soldier Emperor Physique, his subjects far surpassed mere invincibility within their own ranks. A first-order chi-refining realm cultivator could slaughter second-order life forms comparable to ordinary Foundation Establishment realm practitioners with ease. Not defeat, slaughter. Surpassing one's rank in battle came as naturally as eating and drinking water. Within the minor world, 100 Zhanglong Grade A war cruiser hurtled straight toward Chi Wu, who had just broken through to 6th order. It tore the air, leaving a murky, trailing wake in its path. Chi Wu showed no trace of fear. He sank into a horse stance, thrust both palms forward, and chose to meet this colossal war machine head-on. Boom! The ground beneath Chi Wu's feet caved in. A semicircular crater formed instantly under his soles, with spider-webbed cracks spreading outward in all directions. The cruiser's thrusters roared, yet it could advance no further. Single-handed, he had brought a Grade A war machine to a grinding halt. Then he drove his hands into the hull of the cruiser, wielding the giant vessel itself as a weapon to mow down swarms of surrounding mechanical life forms. Scenes like this unfolded across the virtual battlefield. Several 7th-order mechanical warriors finally managed to slay a 6th-order void-refining realm cultivator, only for their foe to rise from the dead the very next moment, in an even more powerful state than before. Then they were instantly cut down in return. Other human cultivators, not a handful, but whole groups of them, would be cornered into seemingly hopeless straits, yet rally forth like children of destiny. Stirred by bonds of kinship, friendship, and fellowship, they broke through under fire and reversed impossible battles. On top of all this, immunity against mental assaults, toxins, flame, magic, and more rendered most of the mechanical Godrealm's means of attack ineffective. Though Fu Qiu was a third-turn demigod holding the defender's advantage, he was steadily losing ground against Lu Sheng, merely a second-turn demigod. There was no doubt that the battle had entered garbage time. Even without further commands, conquering the enemy Godrealm was only a matter of time. Less than 3 months of Godrealm time elapsed before every defensive front of Fu Qiu's forces crumbled. As his virtual Godrealm core shattered, the virtual scenario dissolved, and Lu Sheng returned to the starting space of the Ziwei battlefield. Challenge successful. You have risen to rank 10 million. Would you like to continue challenging? Continue, Lu Sheng replied. Through this battle, he had gained a clear grasp of his own strength. Judging purely by the power of his subjects, ordinary third-turn demigods stood no chance against him. He specified purely the power of his subjects, because certain third-turn demigods, such as Buzhou, the SS-grade prodigy groomed with all the resources of the Fu clan, might possess S-grade or even SS-grade war weapons within their god realms. Against weaponry of that caliber, not even a ninth-order tribulation-transcending realm cultivator could hope to survive. They would be reduced to ashes in an instant. Truly, the wealthy held overwhelming advantages. Your opponent is Shangguan Tianxia, a fourth-year student at Ziwei Academy, third-turn demigod grade C prodigy. Generating virtual world scenario. Your opponent is Fong Chung, a second-year student at Ziwei Academy, third-turn demigod grade A candidate. Generating your opponent is challenge after challenge sent Lu Sheng surging upward on the prodigy leaderboard. His advance only ground to a halt at rank 7,930,000 against a senior third-year student whose subjects were mutated Zerg. That foe commanded more than 100 billion subjects gifted with self-destruction, a thoroughly vexing ability. His god realm held countless breeding facilities spawning Zerg subjects non-stop, producing seemingly endless hordes that could never be fully eradicated. Whenever they got the chance, the Zerg would burrow into their foes' pores, devour cells, corrode internal organs, and self-detonate inside their bodies. Your challenges have concluded. Your final rank is 7,930,000. Per regulations, Ziwei Academy has awarded you 10 million course credits. You may check your account. For a split second, the Supreme Intelligent Life Form's voice stuttered, then resumed. Following analysis and resolution by Great Xia's Supreme Intelligent Life Form, Lu Sheng, first-year student of Ziwei Academy, possesses the potential of a grade A prodigy. Your authority level has been upgraded. A glowing electronic projection unfolded before Lu Sheng's eyes. Great Xia citizen Lu Sheng, original C-grade talent land of fertile breeding. Historical performance analysis indicates probable awakening of hidden SSS-grade talent or a revival. Reclassified as grade A prodigy. Henceforth, your file shall be protected by Great Xia's Supreme Intelligent Life Form. No individual may access your records without authorization. Your security clearance has been elevated. The Ziwei Star Education Bureau has dispatched a fourth-order true god to safeguard your safety until your graduation from Ziwei Academy. Your residence within Ziwei Academy has been reassigned. The security clearance of your parents Lu Tiansheng and Wang Ning has been upgraded. The local education bureau will deploy a concealed fourth-order true god-ranked guardian to watch over them. All S-grade and lower resources you purchase on Ziwei Star are now priced at 90% of market value. All price difference costs are covered by the Great Xia government until your graduation. Your authority within the neural terminal has been elevated. Access to the second world is now granted. Ziwei Academy. Congratulations to student Lu Sheng for attaining grade A prodigy status. The Academy bestows upon you 5 billion wisps of divinity, 1 SS-grade building, and ownership of 1 low-grade resource planet. Listening to the stream of announcements, Lu Sheng's mood shifted from bewilderment, through confusion, to unrestrained elation. He had become a prodigy. 1 month before the National College assessment, he had obtained a guaranteed admission spot. Aboard the flying vessel en route to Ziwei Academy, he had broken through to demigod and attained grade, a candidate standing. Now, merely 3 months after enrolling at Ziwei Academy, he had officially become a prodigy. The privileges granted to grade A prodigies are truly extraordinary. Excitement shown in Lu Sheng's eyes, barely held in check. First and foremost was security. A fourth-order true God Guardian meant he would face zero safety risks on Ziwei Star. He had not anticipated that his parents would also receive protection from a third-order true God. On Blue Star, a third-order true God was virtually an invincible force. Then there was the 90% purchase discount. Though it sounded modest, expenditures such as S-grade buildings could easily run into millions of wisps of divinity. The savings would amount to astronomical sums. Add to that 50 billion wisps of divinity, an SS-grade building, and an entire low-grade resource planet. The rewards outstripped those of the new student grand tournament. What exactly is the second world? Lu Sheng wondered. Knock, knock, knock. At that moment, Xiao Fu's voice came from outside the door. Master, the government, assigned protective envoy has arrived. Please go complete the hand-over formalities. Lu Sheng opened the door and stepped out into the courtyard. A refined-looking man in blue robes sat waiting there. His expression was gentle and his demeanor easy-going, yet an aura of immense power radiated from him, his strength unfathomable. Undoubtedly, this was a powerhouse comparable to Su Yuan. Seeing Lu Sheng approach, The refined man rose at once, his imposing aura softening involuntarily. He bowed respectfully. Honored Lord Liu, congratulations on becoming the 14th grade, a prodigy of this intake at Ziwei Academy. I am Xiao Yun, a 4th Order True God. I have been assigned by the Great Xia government as your guardian, tasked with overseeing your safety and daily livelihood for the next 4 years. You may consult me regarding any matters you wish. Honored Lord. Lu Sheng pondered the title. Unlike Grade B, Grade C, and Grade D prodigies, Grade A prodigies represented national pillars and future cornerstones of Great Xia. Their status underwent a fundamental transformation. Lesser rank prodigies were required to step aside and show them utmost deference. Even a 4th Order True God must address them with reverence as Honored Lord. So this is what it means to be a prodigy, Lu Sheng reflected. He could still recall his arrival on Ziwei Star 3 months prior, watching how a prodigies commanded such reverence. Without uttering a word, crowds would make way for them. Now he stood among their ranks. Honored Lord Liu, your current courtyard is no longer fitting for your station as a prodigy. Please follow me to your new residence, Xiaoyun gestured. It ranks among the safest locations within Ziwei Academy, even across all of Ziwei Star. A full suite of intelligent life forms has been installed for you. Should you require divine servants, you may submit an application to the Academy. Given your status, your application stands a high chance of approval. Divine servants? Divine servants are divinities with their own minor worlds who serve you. They may be human or of foreign races, according to your preferences. Lu Sheng marveled inwardly and followed him out of the courtyard. Halfway along their path, however, he paused, glancing back toward his old quarters. May I bring my current intelligent life form with me? Over these 3 months on Ziwei Star, he rarely left his residence except to make purchases. Xiao Fu was the being he interacted with most, and he had grown attached. Naturally, Xiaoyun nodded. Bear in mind, however, your present intelligent life form is of low tier. Its permissions and functionality pale in comparison to those installed at your new abode. That is fine. They can operate alongside one another. Traveling toward his new home, Lu Sheng voiced the questions weighing on his mind. Senior Xiao, I heard from Great Xia's supreme intelligent life form that a prodigies may purchase any grade or lower resource at 90% market price until graduation. Are we permitted to resell items bought under this discount? If resale were allowed, one could theoretically exploit the loophole to generate unlimited funds. Lu Sheng understood such an obvious exploit could hardly have escaped Great Xia officials, yet he wished to know the exact restrictions. Resale is prohibited, Xiao Yun replied as they walked. 2 purchasing modes are available to you. The first is standard full price payment, granting you complete authority to trade or dispose of goods freely. The second is the 90% discounted purchase. Goods obtained this way bear special marking. They cannot be resold or gifted to others, and may only be sold back to the government at your original purchase price. Lu Sheng nodded, then asked another question. Senior, do you know of the second world? Xiaoyun paused briefly to gather his thoughts before explaining. The second world is a vast gray market trading platform open not merely to humanity, but to all cosmic races. Even foreign races? Lu Sheng was surprised. Within the current inter-racial order, humanity stood as the dominant power, yet had very few allied foreign races. Most regarded humanity with hostility, and open warfare still raged across front-line battlefields. Under such circumstances, a shared trading platform acknowledged by countless races still existed. Honored Lord Liu, bear this truth in mind. There are no permanent enemies, only permanent interests. Xiao Yun continued. Wars and God realm invasions are ultimately driven by interests. That is how the second world came into being. Within the second world, you may acquire rare divine treasures such as azure, void fruits, exclusive buildings for nurturing foreign race subjects, and special cultivation systems. You may also purchase the minor world coordinates and data of foreign divinities, or even human divinities. Think of the second world as an underground bazaar tacitly sanctioned by countless races. If utilized well, it could trigger qualitative leaps in your minor world's development. Bear in mind, though, it remains a gray zone space. Information is unreliable and sellers are cunning. Given your current strength, you would be wise to delay deep involvement until you have grown more powerful. As they conversed, they departed the courtyard and stepped through a teleportation array for spatial translocation. Soon afterward they arrived atop a fairy mountain shrouded in swirling mist. Sea, like clouds surged, white spray crashing against cliff faces, painting a scene of other-worldly splendor. Lu Xing stared at the magnificent sight, confusion crossing his features. This green, lawn mountain shall serve as your new residence from now on. Xiao Yun smiled, gesturing toward the sacred mountain. Land on Ziwei Star commands exorbitant value, yet as a prodigy of great Xia, you deserve nothing less than the finest treatment. Hum, hum, hum. Speaking of this, the identity token at Lu Sheng's waist trembled faintly. The sea of clouds before him suddenly parted to reveal a narrow passage, exposing a winding bluestone path below. The path stretched all the way to a faintly visible manor halfway up the mountain. Various intelligent life forms lined up in 2 rows to welcome his arrival. Good heavens! Lu Sheng stared in astonishment and swallowed hard. He really had not seen much of the world. Honored Lord Lu, I shall not enter your residence. Should you have travel needs or daily issues in the future, you may contact me. Xiao Yun bowed once more before drifting away. Stepping inside the manor, Lu Sheng was nearly dumbfounded. It was more than 100 times larger than his previous small courtyard. It was equipped with all sorts of intelligent devices he had never heard of, shielded by formation barriers that offered perfect privacy and security. Huff! After touring the manor, Lu Sheng leaned back in a chair and let out a long breath. All of this stemmed from his own perseverance and hard work. He deserved every bit of it. I will exchange for the SS rank building later. First, let me check the low-grade resource star. With that thought, Lu Xing's consciousness sank slowly into his small world. Low-grade resource star coordinates: 183, 9990, 1572. Area: 12 million square kilometers. The original garrison troops have fully withdrawn. You may dispatch forces to claim it at any time. Within the World Sea, Lu swiftly locked onto this small world by its coordinates. With a thought, he opened a world channel in an instant. At the same time, 100 wisps of divinity were deducted from his account balance. Record: you have opened a world channel. The 2 worlds are connecting. Boom. A rift spanning heaven and earth appeared. Lu Xing simultaneously issued a divine edict to the subjects within his divine kingdom. My people, this connected world abounds in resources and holds no threats. I command you to send troops to garrison it and form exploration teams to gather resources in rotation, so as to strengthen the foundations of our divine kingdom. We obey the divine edict. Having set the goal and general direction, he left all specific operational procedures entirely to the mechanical heavenly Tao. Lu Sheng, however, found the name somewhat cumbersome and decided to give it a new title. Mechanical heavenly Tao does not sound fitting. From today onward, you shall be known simply as Tian. Thank you, Master, for bestowing this name. Tian trembled slightly, its form shifting into that of a dignified middle-aged man. This was one of its abilities. It could assume any shape. As the ruler of the heavenly palace, a domineering and majestic appearance was appropriate, and this form suited the role well. Under Tian's leadership, tens of millions of human cultivators, accompanied by hundreds of millions of functional robots, marched toward the new world in a grand procession. Whoosh! Upon entering the low-grade resource star, warm, moist air carrying the scent of plant transpiration washed over them. There were no animals, no ores, no bedrock. The entire land consisted of dark soil covered in densely packed high-grade spirit plants. Spiritual energy was abundant, roughly 1/10,000th of that within Lu Sheng's own small world. The primary resource of this low-grade resource star should be these spirit plants. It looks fairly promising, Lu Sheng observed. Every resource star possessed a unique environment suited for cultivating specific resources. Haphazard attempts to alter these conditions would almost certainly lead to heavy losses. This low-grade resource star had clearly been developed for a long time. Predecessors had already laid the groundwork. Undoubtedly, the spirit plants growing here represented the optimal cultivation configuration. Even though no dangers existed inside this wild, like low-grade resource star, threats could still come from outside. Now that Lu Sheng had seized it, other gods might discover this world while exploring the World Sea and choose to invade and plunder it. Therefore, besides resource gathering teams, combat-capable troops had to be stationed on every resource star. Human cultivators soon completed a full survey of the small world. Some spirit plants had already been harvested, yet vast stretches remained fully mature and untouched. Master, according to my calculations, with an investment of over 10 million Qi, refining stage cultivators paired with 200 million first-order functional robots, This small world can sustainably yield 100 million wisps of divinity over 30 years. I also recommend a garrison of roughly 30 million troops, 1 million void refining, stage cultivators, 10 million divine, transformation, stage cultivators, and the rest fourth, order nascent soul, stage cultivators. All shall be equipped with A rank or higher weapons, sufficient to handle most scenarios, Tian reported. Lu Sheng frowned, unsatisfied with the projection. Only 100 million wisps of divinity over 30 years. His own small world already generated 1 billion wisps of divinity each month. Structures such as the Green Lotus Earth, Milk Pool, and Crystal Gall consumed almost none of his subjects' cultivation or study time. Developing this low-grade resource star required dispatching nearly 1/10 of his divine kingdom's population to a realm where spiritual energy was merely 1/10,000th of their homeland. Consuming massive amounts of their time, these subjects' cultivation progress would inevitably fall far behind those who stayed in the native world. The cost was high, yet the returns fell far short of his expectations. Master, among low-grade resource stars, a yield of 100 million wisps of divinity over 30 years is considerable. Your standards are simply exceedingly high, Tian replied. According to public records from Great Xiao, the median monthly divine kingdom income for ordinary second-turn demigods stands at 50 wisps of divinity. Even top talent students from the Ziwei Academy, without powerful clan backgrounds, typically earn only tens of thousands to several 100,000 wisps of divinity each month. 100 million wisps of divinity would take them 30,000 years of diligent development within their divine kingdoms, without setbacks or losses, to achieve. 30,000 years? Is it really that extreme? Lu Sheng's mouth twitched. It was all because of his SS rank 100-fold world bounty, which multiplied resource gains and allowed explosive growth. He had lost touch with the baseline reality for most gods. Were others truly this impoverished? After spending so much time around figures such as Pei Xiaogong and Fu Qing, who casually spent hundreds of thousands of wisps of divinity, his frame of reference had shifted. Tian offered another proposal. If you wish to accelerate divinity acquisition beyond upgrading to higher-tier resource buildings, the most effective path is to wage divine kingdom wars and seize other gods' divine kingdom cores to expand your small world. With your talent traits, expanding 1 million square kilometers is equivalent to others expanding over 100 million square kilometers. Your gains would grow geometrically. Tian, set this idea aside for now. I am only a second-turn demigod. Though my subjects are strong and my small world holds the SS rank immortal Great Wall, I am far from invincible among demigods. The risks are too great. Lu Sheng rejected the proposal without hesitation. This was not cowardice, but prudence. If he failed to swiftly defeat an enemy, the foe might call for reinforcements, or he could stumble upon a fifth-turn demigod. That would spell disaster. He possessed a bright future and safer avenues for growth. There was no need to fight desperately for resources like ordinary demigods. Yet Tian persisted. Master, I understand your concerns. But after combing through the human race's databases, I have uncovered a forbidden yet persistent practice. What practice? Transfer stations, Tian stated plainly. The core danger of waging divine kingdom wars lies in exposing your small world coordinates. If you form a contract with another god of equal divine rank and use their small world as a transfer station, letting them initiate the divine kingdom war on your behalf, you would only risk losing some troops should the war end in defeat. Transfer station, Lu Sheng's eyes lit up. Tian's words opened up new lines of thought. With the transfer station world acting as an intermediary, his own small world would never make direct contact with the target world to be invaded. The risk of his coordinates being leaked would drop drastically. If the divine kingdom war succeeded, Lu Sheng would reap the main rewards, while his vassal god received a share. If the war failed, the worst-case outcome was losing some subjects and a vassal god. It added an extra layer of buffer. As for the fate of the vassal god, having accepted the benefits of the arrangement, they had to accept the accompanying risks. Tian quickly tempered his excitement. Do not rejoice too soon, master. While directing hundreds of millions of robots to gather spirit plants in orderly fashion, Tian continued. Though transfer stations greatly mitigate risk, if the vassal god perishes and the enemy wields divination-type laws, there remains a small chance they can trace back to your small world coordinates. Furthermore, using a transfer station prevents your consciousness from entering the divine kingdom battlefield. You cannot draw upon your origin to aid your subjects. so your full combat power cannot be brought to bear. What is your assessment? Lu Xing asked. Master, I believe the Heavenly Palace has only recently been established. We have yet to fully digest the vast resources granted by the Academy, and your small world is still in rapid growth phase. Steady development and upgrading divine kingdom buildings remain the optimal strategy. Even so, you may begin screening potential vassal gods in preparation for future divine kingdom wars. After all, divine kingdom warfare will sooner or later become necessary if you intend to advance to true godhood. Lu Xing looked confused. Can I not simply hire any random demigod as a vassal god? Even though the vassal god's world functioned as the transfer station, Lu Shang's own forces would bear the brunt of combat. The vassal god was more like a salaried legal representative. Surely any demigod ought to suffice. Vassal gods are not all equal. Tian shook his head. First, their small world environment must support long-term stationing and troop transit for your human subjects. Dead, zone realms, or swamp-infested worlds are unsuitable. Second, since the vassal god will interact closely with you, contractual restrictions may prevent them from leaking your coordinates. But secrets regarding your military structure and combat systems will inevitably become known to them. It is therefore best to select close associates or gods you personally raised, who also possess decent combat capability. Tian gave an example. For instance, raise Zhao Mingjian to demigodhood, or recruit an existing human demigod, such as your father Lu Tianxing. Enough. At the mention of his father, Lu Shang's brows knotted tightly, and he cut Tian off mid-sentence. He stared sternly. Tian, do you understand what you are suggesting? How could I possibly send my parents into such peril? Serving as a transfer station vassal god was no trivial matter. If a divine kingdom war went awry, the vassal god faced near certain death. Not his parents, and not even Zhao Mingjian would he readily assign to such a role. Besides, they would have to be willing to accept the burden in the first place. My apologies, Master. Within my calculations, they do represent the most advantageous candidates currently available, Tian replied with a blank, impassive apology. Lu Xing fell silent. Truly, this was the absolute rationality of the former mechanical heavenly Tao. To its logic, bonds such as kinship and friendship were merely exploitable resources to accelerate growth. He had once thought himself cold-hearted, but beside Tian, he paled in comparison. Let us set this matter aside for now. Lu Xing pulled his consciousness back from the low-grade resource star and returned to reality. As Tian had explained, while a transfer station vassal god could not directly leak the main god's coordinates, they could still engage in subtle mischief. That ruled out enslaved alien demigods for this role. Different races could never be fully trusted. Those subjugated alien demigods likely burned with hatred for humanity. Even bound by contracts, they would seek opportunities for retaliation. Their present obedience stemmed solely from lack of opportunity. Ideal vassal gods would be human divinities with no powerful background, moderate talent, who could be cultivated and bought over with generous rewards. Back in the real world, Lu Xing found an open mountain clearing to test the second characteristic of the power law he had comprehended. His rapid progress across 3 laws within a single month owed much to the peerless azure void fruits. Let me witness its effects. A soft breeze brushed past. Lu Sheng's feet sank 3 inches into the ground. Dense crackling noises erupted from his bones as his muscles swelled drastically. Crack! His garments ripped apart completely, revealing a bronze-hued, powerfully built physique with dragon-like veins bulging beneath the skin. Power law second characteristic, physical surge limit break. Boom. He clenched his fist unconsciously. A ring of shockwave exploded from his knuckles, sending nearby stones flying. Even minor movements unleashed terrifying aftershocks. Power has multiplied by at least 100-fold. When bestowed upon my subjects, it can boost their strength by roughly 10%. Lu Xing took a deep breath. In pure contests of physical might, he could now stand evenly, or even prevail, against third-turn demigods. After adjusting to his new state, Lu Xing headed for the treasure vault in exchange for a new S-rank building, the Enlightenment Tree. Enlightenment Tree, a legendary functional building formed over eons from condensed laws and purified spirit veins. It stirs great Tao resonance, accelerates law shaping within the small world, and continuously raises the insight of all living beings dwelling there. It bears 9 Tao fruits every 10,000 years. Tao fruits can remold physical aptitude, hasten cultivation speed, deepen comprehension of the great Tao, and offer immense benefits for cultivators. Each Tao fruit is valued at 100 million wisps of divinity. Estimated price, 300 billion wisps of divinity. No stock available on the market. May be listed for sale. Monetary trades require specified amounts. Barter trades require stated conditions. Without hesitation, he loaded it into his small world. Boom! Beneath the heavenly palace, a long-viewed ancient tree of translucent, glazed texture burst upward. 9,900 zhang tall, its translucent emerald-carved canopy shimmered with countless tiny golden motes. Grey Dao laws swirled and interwoven around it, dazzling to behold. Subjects cultivating within the divine kingdom, who had been slowly deciphering obscure cultivation scriptures, experienced sudden flashes of inspiration, advancing markedly in their comprehension. They beheld the colossal ancient tree, vastly larger than the elemental god tree, rising nearly to touch the heavenly palace. Look, our God has manifested another miracle. Praise the divine Lord. Our God's kindness is endless. Several more days passed. Year 351 within the small world. Chi Wu had cultivated for nearly 100 years. He pursued no romance, took no leisure journeys, drank no fine wine, and indulged in no comforts. He devoted himself entirely to bitter cultivation. Now, before reaching 100 years of age, Chi Wu became the first to reach the peak of void refining realm. That same year, Chi Wu attempted to break through to the realm above void refining. Small world, sixth layer of the heavenly palace. Chi Wu sat cross-legged upon a cloud, eyes closed. Vast surging immortal chi converged like ocean tides, pouring into his body. Under Lu Sheng's observation, streams of immortal chi flowed upward from his dantian, flooding every limb, bone, and meridian. His entire being underwent remolding. His dantian collapsed, his primordial spirit shattered. A dharma manifestation took shape in the void, gradually solidifying into a human form resembling Chi Wu himself. The mark of the nascent Dao realm, the great Dao dharma manifestation. Chi Wu's brows were tightly furrowed. His flesh trembled, sweat pouring profusely. Every cell shattered, reconstructed, was crushed again, and rebuilt once more, refined toward perfect condition. It was equivalent to being repeatedly broken apart and reassembled. One could scarcely imagine the agony Chi Wu endured. Even so, he uttered not a single groan. 3 months passed in small world time. Amid the roar of the great Dao, golden light burst forth from Chi Wu's body, and his dharma manifestation behind him finished its formation. He became a body-refining warrior at age 1, reached martial master at 5, martial spirit at 11, martial king at 17. At 27, he defeated the peerless female genius Yu Qingqing and claimed top honors in the martial examination. He became martial emperor at 31. Then came the divine kingdom transformation, forcing him to specialize in Qiated body refining. Still, he never slackened. Before turning 100, he attained void refining realm and now ascended to nascent Dao realm. He was merely 97 years old. Record. Your subject Chi Wu has shattered his shackles and become a nascent Dao realm cultivator 7th order being. At the same moment, Lu Sheng in the real world received the power feedback. His strength, physique, spirit, and all other attributes increased by nearly 100-fold. Crack. An rank material chair shattered to pieces under his unintended weight. With one casual step, floors forged from special or exploded into a dozen smetter-wide crater, sending smoke and dust billowing outward. I have finally advanced to 3rd turn. Feeling the boiling power coursing through him, Lu Sheng felt deep satisfaction. Over 4 months of advancement, he had not only outstripped others in raw strength, but also caught up in realm, becoming the most powerful member of their 5-person squad. Breaking through to 3rd turn demigod in the first semester of freshman year was considered normal for top-tier academy prodigies, yet any faster would draw excessive attention. Lu Sheng chose not to broadcast his breakthrough. He maintained his low-profile routine, traveling only between his residence and the Cloudwater Pavilion. Another half-month slipped by. Divine being, Lu Sheng, divine rank, 3rd turn demigod, small world area, 14.62 million square kilometers. People, human race, population, 567,927,123, 39 nascent Soul Union realm cultivators, 19,912,300 void refining realm cultivators, 100 million God transformation realm cultivators, 4th order creatures. Cultivation methods: S-grade 9 heavens thunder seal art, burning heaven 9 revolutions, mystic water spring formula. Laws: life law 37.3%, 5 elements law 28.1%, power law 23.9%. Talents: X-grade word lord, fusion SSS grade spiritual energy tide, mechanical era, heavenly rewards for diligence, divine artisan, domain SS grade, all prosperity, eternal war demon body, lord of wraiths, sound health and longevity, ancient desolate spirit beast physique, grand formation master, berserk blood war god, lord of the earth, beast god throne, golden age, lord of the night, S grade universal wood affinity, undying soldier emperor physique, multitude of races, distortion force, thunder god physique, elemental physique, grants affinity for and command over 2 or more elemental attributes. Element type cultivation speed plus 1000%, elemental skill power plus 500%. Free to shift between elemental forms. A-grade metal gold physique, tide walker, legion sight, purification, extreme state walker. B-grade berserk blood, mystic ice physique, flash of insight, bloodline atavism, steelback beast. Retainers, elemental envoys 23.57 million adults, stone golems 11,934 fifth order, 16.1 million fourth order. Wonders, 1,000 times Punglai Fairyland, 1,000 times Universal Arts Academy. Buildings, 1 times SS grade Heavenly Palace, 1 times SS grade Immortal Great Wall, 1 times SS grade Enlightenment Tree, 10,000 times Special Building Green Lotus Earth Heart Milk Pool, 65 times Special Building Scarlet Waters, 500 times Special Building Wellspring of Life. Assets, 1 times S-grade Spirit Plant World Age Elemental Divine Tree, 3.1 billion times Tier 1 Functional Robots, 20,000 times A-grade Cyber Mechs, 300 million times Small-Scale War Robots, 400 million times A-grade Weapons, 100 million times Large-Scale Spatial Rings. Divinity, 5.793 billion daily tribute from subjects. Bolstered by such massive gains and resources, the Divine Kingdom expanded at a staggering pace. Lu Sheng's development plans for his small world shifted by the day. Still, several core directions remained unchanged. First, he fully abandoned self-sufficiency. All farmland was decommissioned, and high-grade grain seeds such as spirit rice and blood rice were put up for sale. He would procure all needed supplies directly instead. On Ziwei Star, he could readily purchase vast quantities of premium food, dragon flesh, high-rank demon beast meat, and more, all stored inside A-grade construction spirit energy preservation vaults. Though his 500 million subjects consumed hundreds of thousands of tons of food each year, the cost amounted to merely tens of thousands of strands of divinity. To Lu Sheng, such expenditure was negligible. Another major change concerned the Greystone Goblins. Before the rise of his mechanical civilization, despite numerous forgers and talent bonuses, the Greystone Goblins had formed the backbone of all crafting work. Technology, however, reshaped everything. With the S-grade structure femtometer printer, robots simply fed in mind and the device automatically forged A-grade femtometer caliber weapons. Given sufficient resources, 100 fully operational femtometer printers could produce 10 million A-grade femtometer weapons within 1 Divine Kingdom year. Output far outstripped the consumption of his subjects, leaving a huge surplus. These mechanically forged femtometer-grade weapons were intuitive to wield and could morph into countless forms, 100 times superior to items hammered out by Greystone Goblins. At market rates, 1 ordinary A-grade weapon traded for 1 strand of divinity. 10 million femtometer weapons were worth upwards of 10 million divinity strands. Better yet, weapons printed by the femtometer printer benefited from the SS-grade talent buff divine artisan domain. The arms forged within Lu Sheng's Divine Kingdom were no ordinary femtometer-grade weapons. Possessing 3 stacked special traits, their market value multiplied tenfold. Daily output generated 100 million divinity strands. Monthly output reached 3 billion. Lu Sheng intended to further scale up production in time. Consequently, the Greystone Goblins, a race numbering over 10 million, were listed for sale on the open market. Their rationale: they occupied valuable territory, yet yielded comparatively low returns. During this process, Lu Sheng made a startling discovery. If he voluntarily severed faith-based bonds with his retainers, they instantly lost all blessings from his talents and regressed to ordinary creatures. Meanwhile, elemental envoys and stone golems remained irreplaceable, continuing to excel in their respective fields. Excellent. The future looks bright. Lu Sheng gazed across his Divine Kingdom, a broad smile spreading across his face. Beep beep. Messages popped up in their 5-person group chat, an invitation from Gu Qinghan. At everyone, I've advanced to second turn demigod. Care to gather? My treat. Replies came quickly. Pei Xiaogong. Count me in. It's rare for Miss Gu to treat us. I wouldn't miss this feast. Fu Qing. My younger sister Fu Jingjing also broke through to second turn yesterday. I was just thinking of arranging a get-together, and here Miss Gu has broken through as well. Double joy. Gu Qinghan. I've booked private room 309 on the third floor of 8 Immortals Tower. Waiting for you all. Whoa, Miss Gu is generous. Per person spending at 8 Immortals Tower runs upwards of 10,000 divinity strands. I could never afford that normally. Today we're in for a real treat. Pei Xiaogong replied in astonishment. Only second turn now? Lu Sheng stroked his chin as he read the messages. Gu Qinghan had become a demigod 2 months before the national examination. Half a year had since passed, yet she had only just reached second-turn demigod. Such progress ranked low, even near the bottom, among top-tier A-candidate prodigies. It clashed sharply with her SS-grade talent 100-fold time flow. 100-fold time acceleration meant 18,000 years had elapsed inside her small world across those 180 days. Her subjects ought to have multiplied through hundreds or thousands of generations. Shortage of resources could not explain it. As a direct descendant of the Gu clan, one of the 10 great superclans of Great Xia, she had no lack of supplies. Had her talent concealed some flaw? Or had trouble arisen within her clan, much like what had happened to Li Jiasen? Beep beep. Another message appeared. Gu Qinghan at Ed Lu Sheng privately. At Lu Sheng, Brother Lu. You skipped our last gathering. Please do not decline this time. Pei Xiaogong. Right, Brother Lu. Our 5-person group must stay complete. Understood. Lu Sheng sent his reply. He tidied himself and set off. Though Fu Qing and the others now lagged far behind him in power and status, maintaining connections remained worthwhile. Coming from superclans, they served as valuable sources of intelligence. Stepping through the teleportation array to the entrance of Ziwei Academy, he heard commotion. A crowd of young prodigies had gathered nearby. 7 or 8 B-grade prodigies circled a young man curled on the ground. Blows rained down on him. Bound by status, the youth spat blood yet dared not resist, enduring the humiliation in silence. From the onlookers, one spectator folded his arms and laughed. Already down? You talked big a moment ago. A mere C-grade prodigy dares to talk back. He is asking for trouble. These prodigies from backwater regions are always arrogant and ill-mannered. Today I shall teach him proper conduct. Thud. Unsatisfied, a purple-robed youth planted his boot firmly on the young man's head. He leaned forward, shifting his weight to grind the youth's skull against the stone pavement. Raw skin scraped against rough stone. The youth could not suppress a scream. He tried to rise, only to be forced back down. The purple-robed youth sneered. I'll give you a chance. Kneel and kowtow 3 times, and you may leave. The youth's fingers dug into cracks in the flagstones. His knuckles blanched. His frame trembled with rage, yet he still resisted fighting back. Bystanders watched coldly, treating the spectacle as casual entertainment. No one intervened. On Ziwei Star, status dictated everything. Whenever conflict arose between a B-grade prodigy and a C-grade prodigy, the C-grade prodigy was automatically deemed at fault, regardless of circumstance. Moreover, the aggressor hailed from a powerful great clan, while the victim originated from an obscure remote world. So long as he was not killed outright, the B-grade prodigy would face no punishment. Lu Sheng shook his head and prepared to move on. He had witnessed many such incidents since arriving at Ziwei Academy. No fatal harm was being done. Perhaps this would serve as a bitter lesson. But as Lu Sheng turned to leave, Fu Yi grabbed the victim by his collar and lifted him. The battered face came into full view. Lu Sheng's eyes widened in surprise. Long Outyin. Though covered in dirt and blood, Lu Sheng recognized him from their days at the elite academy. He had not expected Long Outyin to gain admission to Ziwei Academy. Even more unexpected, the once domineering youth now lay victim to brutal bullying. Truly a bitter twist of fate. Seeing Long Outyin's clenched fists and smoldering, suppressed resentment, Lu Sheng made up his mind and strode toward the crowd. Look at that glare. Still not convinced. Fu Yi held Long Outyin aloft, relishing his helpless fury. Fu Yi's own talent was mediocre. His mother held little favor within his clan, and he was frequently bullied and ordered around at home. As a member of the mighty Fu superclan, he vented his frustrations by preying on powerless, low-status prodigies. The more suffering his targets endured, the greater his satisfaction. That month, no fewer than 10 C-grade prodigies had been deliberately provoked and humiliated by Fu Yi. Long Outyin had become his latest victim. One onlooker chimed in. Brother Fu, this kid is stubborn. Don't waste words. Break his arms and legs. Let's see how long he can hold out. Fu Yi leaned close to Long Outyin's ear and whispered a threat. Boy, I will seek you out every month from now on. You will only be spared once you kowtow to me. Ignoring Long Outyin's burning hatred, He tossed him onto the ground like refuse and kicked him hard in the head. Thud. Long Outyin lost consciousness. Not yet finished, Fu Yi raised his foot, intending to shatter his limbs. Bzzzt. Every person present felt their identity tokens blare a warning. Even the arrogant Fu Yi paled and bowed toward the approaching figure. An A-grade prodigy, the pinnacle of Great Xia's prodigy project, standing above most instructors within Ziwei Academy. Seeing him draw near, Fu Yi's heart lurched with panic. He stepped forward. Exalted One Eye, get out of my sight. Lu Xing shot him a casual glance. Boom. That single gaze unleashed crushing pressure weighing down upon Fu Yi's crown chakra. Intangible yet immense, the force bore down like a towering mountain. Act! Fu Yi's eyes bulged. His words died in his throat, twisting into a strangled groan. His complexion drained of color. Sweat beaded across his forehead. His spine creaked, and he collapsed onto the ground. Despair flooded his mind. How could this happen? I checked his background thoroughly. He is merely a minor clan genius from a remote planet lucky enough to enter Ziwei Academy. How could he have an A-grade prodigy backing him? It's over. All over. Already disfavored within his clan and barely qualifying as a B-grade prodigy. Offending such an eminent figure might result in expulsion from his house. Fu Yi lay prostrate, his face ashen. At Fu Yi's scream, onlookers dared not lift their heads. His former associates hastily distanced themselves. An A-grade prodigy stood 2 full tiers above them, someone whom even their fathers would treat with utmost respect. Whatever the cause of the conflict with Fu Yi, they resolved to cut all ties with him. To do otherwise would invite ruin should the A-grade prodigy seek retribution. Lu Xing paid them no mind. He walked straight to Long Outyin, crumpled amid blood and filth. A streak of green light flowed from his palm onto the injured youth. Threads of luminous green wove through every wound. In the space of a breath, all injuries healed completely. What is happening? Long Outyin regained consciousness. He opened his eyes to see Fu Yi groveling on the ground, while onlookers stood rigid, heads bowed. Reading the warning vibrations of his identity token, Long Outyin grasped what had occurred. An A-grade prodigy had intervened to save him. He knew not why, yet he propped himself up, ready to offer his thanks. When he saw the face of his savior, he froze completely. Him. It was him. How could it be him? Why him? Lu Sheng. Long Outyin's voice shook with shock, confusion, and utter disbelief. You are an A-grade prodigy? Surprised? Lu Sheng smiled faintly. Long Outyin swallowed hard. Turmoil raged inside him. More than surprised. He had imagined Lu Xing might have reached B-grade prodigy status, an already staggering height. Instead, Lu Xing stood as an A-grade prodigy, 1 in a million even within Ziwei Academy's gathering of geniuses. Why help me? Long Outyin's tone turned bitter and guarded. No bond of friendship existed between them. Past encounters had been marked by Long Outyin's own arrogance and friction. Long Outyin, have you heard of the 3 great joys in mortal life? Lu Xing avoided direct reply. Success in the imperial examinations, wedding night, and meeting an old acquaintance in a distant land. Our meeting here is such a twist of fate. I merely ate a fellow homeworld compatriot. It is nothing remarkable. What if I was the one in the wrong? That matters little. Long Outyin opened his mouth, yet found no retort. In his months at Ziwei Academy, he had learned one harsh truth. Only equals were entitled to argue over right and wrong. Lu Sheng was an A-grade prodigy. Unless Fu Yi could summon comparable backing, debating fault served no purpose. Exactly as when he himself was tormented. No one had cared about justification. Lu Sheng clapped him on the shoulder and transferred 1 million strands of divinity to his account. After today, those men ought not trouble you again. Take this 1,000,000 divinity strands. Develop your small world well. Seek me out once you advance to demigod. I have other business. Farewell. Without waiting for refusal, Lu Sheng turned and departed. 1 million divinity strands. Staring at his updated balance, Long Outyin was stunned. The total value of all resources within his own divine kingdom might not even reach 30,000 strands. Lu Sheng had casually bestowed 1,000,000. Just how vast were Lu Sheng's fortunes? Seek him after becoming a demigod. Long Outyin's eyes flickered. He reached a decision after only a moment's hesitation. He did not believe the thin excuse of helping a compatriot. Clearly Lu Sheng intended to make use of him. So be it. After experiencing so much humiliation at Ziwei Academy, pride and dignity meant nothing to him. So long as he grew stronger, he would endure whatever came. From this day onward, he counted an A-grade prodigy as his patron. 1 million, truly 1 million. For a fleeting moment, Long Outyin drifted in stunned daze. Meanwhile, Lu Sheng, who had left, was conversing with Tian in his mind. Tian was confused by Lu Sheng's actions. Master, Long Outyin possesses in strength talent. Though he does not stand out at Ziwei Academy, he is practically guaranteed to become a god in the future. Would he agree to be your subordinate god? Tian, do you know what I saw in Long Outyin's eyes? Lu Sheng smiled. Tian shook his head. Ambition, Lu Sheng stated firmly. As a heaven-favored prodigy on Blue Star, Long Outyin harbors immense pride. Yet here, he has been reduced to the lowest rank. He will never resign himself to such a fate. Even if he ends up refusing, it is merely a million strands of divinity. I suffer no real loss. Tian, are you not afraid he will grow beyond your control in time? At this, Lu Sheng chuckled softly. For people like him, as long as you remain perpetually stronger than them, they can be even more trustworthy than those you have personally nurtured. Or do you think he could ever surpass me? Tian, the Eight Immortals Tower, an enterprise belonging to the Qing clan, one of the three great superfamilies of the Ziwei Star. Unlike the Fu clan's Dragon Fish restaurant, the Eight Immortals Tower catered exclusively to the high-end market. Anyone who stepped inside would spend at least 10,000 strands of divinity per person for a single meal. A single dinner could equal the value of some high-grade rank buildings. One dared not enter without sufficient power and background. This gathering is surely about more than just a meal, Lu Sheng thought as he walked toward the entrance. A waiter immediately stepped forward. Greetings. Do you have a reservation? Yes. Lu Sheng, private room 309. So it is Mr. Lu. Please take this token. Upon entering the building, the spatial formation will teleport you directly to your reserved private room. The waiter bowed slightly, holding out a red sandalwood tray. He lifted a token from its center. The token was dark-hued, neither metal nor wood, yet felt smooth and cool to the touch like jade. Faint glimmers of light flickered across its surface, imbued with divine wonder. Truly, the place spared no effort to appear lofty. Holding the token, Lu Sheng crossed the threshold. The ground seemed to vanish beneath his feet. In the blink of an eye, he found himself standing outside private room 309. He pushed open the door and stepped inside. Gu Qinghan and the other three were already there chatting while waiting. Buzz. The instant Lu Sheng entered the room, their identity tokens trembled sharply, warning them that a top-tier prodigy was nearby. All conversation ceased. The four people in the room turned as one. They beheld the handsome young man walking toward them and gasped in surprise. A top-tier prodigy? Brother Lu has become a top-tier prodigy this quickly. From the freshman grand tournament, Gu Qinghan and the others knew Lu Sheng's true strength. They had expected him to attain top-tier prodigy status sooner or later, but none had imagined it would happen so fast. They had thought it might happen in his third year, or even his second. Never had they expected that merely over a month after the freshman grand tournament, he would achieve this monumental shift in status. A top-tier prodigy. Where the four of them had once held a sliver of status advantage over Lu Sheng, they were now completely outmatched in every regard. Fu Qing set down his teacup and drew a sharp breath. Brother Lu's potential is truly astonishing. A bitter smile appeared on Gu Qinghan's face. Beside Brother Lu becoming a top-tier prodigy, my own breakthrough to second transcendence is hardly worth mentioning. Complex emotions flickered across all four of their faces. They understood. From this moment onward, Lu Sheng had pulled far ahead of them. Upon becoming a top-tier prodigy, one's resource allotment grew exponentially. The gap between them would only widen with time, until he ultimately separated from their five-man squad. Before long, their five-man team might very well shrink down to four. Still, as scions of prominent clans, they quickly composed themselves and warmly invited Lu Sheng to take a seat. Though their paths would inevitably diverge and they would no longer stand on the same battlefield, maintaining this connection might yet bring them great benefits in the days ahead. Come, come. So many fortunate events have aligned today. I must offer a toast, Fu Qing said, pulling out 5 pots of blood spirit wine and passing one to each person. Since Brother Fu has made a gesture, I shall follow suit, Pei Xiaogong said, bringing forth a pile of black orbs that somewhat resembled medicinal pellets. These are inner cores of ninth-order demonic beasts. They contain multiple energy elements beneficial to us and hold immense nutritional value. Gu Qinghan and Fu Jingjing also brought out special products from their divine kingdoms. Paired with the lavish feast from the Eight Immortals Tower, a cheerful atmosphere filled the private room. Compared to before, apart from Fu Jingjing, whose gaze stayed fixed on Fu Qing, everyone else directed most of their attention toward Lu Sheng, striking up conversations and proposing toasts at intervals. Gu Qinghan in particular. She deliberately sat beside Lu Sheng. As she ate and raised her cup, she leaned close to him. Her cheeks were flushed. Her eyelashes trembled, and her eyes shone with open admiration. While Gu Qinghan was not strikingly beautiful in terms of raw looks, she possessed outstanding poise and figure, granting her a distinctive charm. Miss Gu, you have invited us to dine at the Eight Immortals Tower. I suspect this is not merely to celebrate your breakthrough to second transcendence demigod, Lu Sheng said after several rounds of wine, completely sober. He glanced at Gu Qinghan, who was sitting very close to him, and spoke calmly. He bore the S-rank talent Hundredfold Chrono Shift, a top-tier development-type talent. Yet, Gu Qinghan's Divine Kingdom's growth rate was the slowest among their group. Normally quite frugal, she had splurged for a feast at Ziwei Star's most exclusive establishment and brought out numerous precious specialties. She had always been friendly toward him, yet never this overtly attentive. All signs pointed to Gu Qinghan carrying some heavy concern. Perhaps she hesitated to speak due to his new status as a top-tier prodigy. Or the problem was genuinely difficult to resolve. They were, after all, friends. If it cost him nothing, he was willing to lend a hand. In Lu Sheng's view, whatever crisis weighed on Gu Qinghan would most likely prove trivial for him. At his words, the traces of intoxication vanished from Fu Qing, Fu Jingjing, and Pei Xiaogong. They set down their cups and turned their full attention to him. Deep down, they had suspected as much, yet had not voiced it. Gu Qinghan's expression shifted, then she sighed heavily. I have indeed run into considerable trouble lately. 3 months ago, a second transcendence goblin demigod invaded my small world. Its army was not particularly powerful, and their equipment was mediocre. I repelled them without much difficulty. But soon afterward, it summoned 3 other second transcendence goblin demigods of equal strength, and launched another Divine Kingdom war against my realm. Though they still could not breach my Divine Kingdom's defenses, they severely hampered my development. That is why I was delayed in breaking through to second transcendence demigod. Miss Gu, Pei Xiaogong interjected. When you were still at first transcendence, you could hold off those 4 foes. Now that you have advanced to second transcendence, with Hundredfold Chrono Shift boosting your forces, your troop numbers should match or exceed the goblins. You ought to drive them back with ease. You could even launch a counter-invasion. Fu Qing added. If only it were that simple, I would not be seeking help, Gu Qinghan said, anger flickering across her features. Those accursed goblin outsiders must have detected the abundant high-grade resources within my small world. Even knowing I have broken through to second transcendence, they refuse to give up. Just today, 7 more second transcendence demigods plus 2 third transcendence demigods opened world portals and sent massive armies to assault my Divine Kingdom. Including the original 4, my small world is now under invasion by 13 goblin demigods in total.